Oh God. Oh.
What did you just drink?
It's whiskey, but I guess I'm not used to drinking whiskey because I just don't drink it as much as I used to.
There's the clip for the show.
Because I've been sick. Oh. What's good, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brittany Brombacher, alongside the Sudafed Queen, Christine Steimer.
Oh no, they're gonna flag my name in all of the drugstores around the United States.
You're like, hello, I have a cold. Can you please give me the drugs?
And they'll be like, we've heard your song. No.
Oh my gosh.
No, we will not. We do not condone the use of Sudafed in such a lighthearted manner. It can be used to make methamphetamines. I think that's what they make with it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, you're not wrong. I know if you want to get certain Sudafed, you have to give your driver's license. At least in Washington, you have.
Yeah, no, you have to do that here too. Because the one time I got really sick and had my, you all know, you were listening to that podcast where I was real fucked up.
Yep. When you said
I had
God
to
of
go
War
get
was a fine game.
Sudafed. You know what? It was fucking fine at the time. I stand by that.
Oh my gosh, so good. I was telling Steimer before we started shooting the show that damn Sudafed song of hers has been stuck in my head all weekend long. And from the responses on Twitter, it sounds like I'm not the only one. You dropped a sick beat, Steimer. You should be proud of yourself.
Enjoy. I lost it just because I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like in my own head was like, what are you fucking doing?
You are making the next big hit.
Wow, apparently.
Securing that job security with Sudafed.
Kanye, give me a call. Apparently I dropped sick beats. I don't know. Does he do sick beats anymore? I'm not sure. I'm not hip to the new haps.
Yeah, I'm not hip and cool with it much myself anymore. So let's look at this housekeeping we have for the What's Good Games podcast. Obviously, Andrea is not here. She is at DICE right now, and I believe the DICE Awards are tonight.
I think that is correct. Also, yes, to clarify, DICE meaning the developer awards, not DICE in Sweden.
Yes, I've seen some confusion about that on Twitter. And I'm like, are you really confused or are you just being cheeky?
Well, I think some people don't legitimately know that DICE is if you are not in the industry, DICE is not a thing you would necessarily be aware of.
Yeah, that's true. So she was hosting, I think her roundtable was today. So we'll have to ask her how that went, if she'll tell us. I don't know if we're cool enough to have that classified information. Because I know a lot of those talks are off the record, but
oh, are they?
Yeah, they're not streamed. I don't think there's a schedule even really announced unless you're going. I think it's just a place for people to have honest and real conversations about certain things.
In Vegas?
In Vegas, you always get good conversations.
Get you fucked up and have a off the record conversation. Sounds lovely.
Sounds great. But other than that, she will be back next week. I will be gone next week. I will be in Maui.
Y'all are taking turns.
We're taking turns. It's okay.
Taking turns with me.
I'm only going to be gone. First time. I'm only going to be gone 1 week. I'll be back the next week. And then we can hold hands and frolic together in the internet. Other than that, PAX East is March 28th through March 31st. And our What's Good Games live panel is Thursday, March 28th at 6:30 p.m. in the Bobcat Theater.
Wow.
It'll be, that was a good Bobcat sound. One more time.
Thank you.
One more time for
wow.
the kids. Yeah, and the kids are back. So unfortunately, we've seen a lot of responses from people in our community that they won't be getting in until Friday. So you might miss the panel on Thursday, but we should be able to actually record it this time. I don't think we've done an actual panel where we've successfully recorded our discussions.
It's because we keep saying we're going to record it. So we should say we are not recording this.
I think we actually.
And then if we do record it, it's a nice surprise and delight moment for everybody. But if we don't, then it's just, par for the course.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think we have a new piece of equipment we're going to be using. So, hey.
Oh, we all know how well pieces of equipment to. They work very well for us.
That sounded good in my head. And then I was like, wait a minute. That does not mean anything. But the point I was getting at is we will be hosting a meetup at some point during PAX East. So if you can't make it to our panel, sad days, but we will be scheduling something somewhere in some capacity where we could all just hang out and take drinks and be silly and take drinks.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Steimer, you gotta call me out.
I was gonna let you roll with it.
No. When I drop bullshit like that, I meant to say take photos and have drinks. I was gonna say take drinks and
You know what? I'm gonna take a drink from you. I'm
photos.
just gonna say it. I'm gonna take your drink.
I'm gonna take your drink and have photos. It'll be great. We also have two Patreon streams. Saturday, February 23rd. This is our happy hour Q&A live stream, as well as our after hour stream where we will play video games with you. Rumor is that we're gonna be playing Anthem. So actually, I don't know if we'll be able to play with other people. Because,
I was gonna say I don't think we're playing games with you, but we are playing games.
Yeah, we might be able to fit one into our little squad, but we'll see how that goes.
What she said.
That is what she said, as a matter of fact. And speaking of, on March 16th, we're hosting a live stream for everyone, and we're going to be announcing some new Patreon changes that'll be coming, and they're very exciting and nothing too crazy. We're not breaking the mold here, so we're not trying to do anything too out of the realm of possibilities. So that'll be fun. Also, Steimer just recently uploaded a vlog to patreon.com/what'sgoodgames where you talked about Boy Love Anime.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah?
It's great. It's wholesome.
I liked it. It was a good vlog. And, obviously this is for patrons only, but it was fun. I didn't know you were a big Boy Love fan.
This only occurred within the last 6 months.
Oh, okay.
When Cindy showed me Yuri on Ice.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you and Yuri on Ice. I've never seen that.
Oh my God, you should watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I'm not surprised that you haven't seen it. You don't watch a lot of things.
Well, I watch anime.
Oh, that's true, you do.
I do. It's typically when I'm on a treadmill. Like, I want to watch something. Yeah. Well, maybe you can introduce me to the...
Oh, girl, I show you.
Show me the boy love. All right, so we'll actually start talking about video games pretty soon. But first, I want to tell you about our first sponsor, GOAT. If you're buying speakers, let me start over, because GOAT is not about speakers. It's about sneakers with an N and not a P. If you're buying sneakers online, there's more than a coin flip's chance that the shoe you're looking at is fake. How can you be sure it's real, Steimer? Well, GOAT.com is the safest way to buy and sell authentic sneakers online. They're the largest marketplace in the world for authentic Yeezys, Jordans, and over 600,000 sneaker listings. They've made the whole process frictionless and trustworthy. They do this by only accepting sellers with the best reputation and by verifying all sneakers to ensure their authenticity for buyers. Every detail is inspected, from the stitching and color to the size and weight. GOAT certifies that every pair of sneakers on their site matches exact factory specifications. With over 500,000 sneakers on the platform and 10 million users, you won't find a better place for verified 100% authentic sneakers anywhere else. Find the perfect 100% authentic sneaker at goat.com/goodgames. That's goat.com/goodgames. Plus, you'll also be supporting our show, but you've got to go right now before the sneakers you want are gone when you go to goat.com/goodgames, spelled GOAT.com/goodgames. Now, Steimer, I saw you post a picture of some fancy ass shoes. Was that last night?
Yeah.
Okay. What were those?
Those are Timberlands.
Okay. And they're called Ice Cream?
Well, the Timberlands released Ice Cream Edition. They're limited edition Timberlands that are, I don't know why they have like little quote unquote sparklies at the bottom, so it looks like sprinkles. The other ones are like purple. I didn't want the purple ones. I got the gray ones with like sort of sherbet orange looking accent colors.
Oh, goodness. So I saw that photo, and I was like, oh, that's cute, and I kept scrolling. But last night...
Wow, you didn't even give me a like?
I should have, but I was in a real lazy mood. I should have. I was a bad friend, and I apologize. So last night, I had this dream, and I completely forgot about the picture. Last night, I had this dream that I had these really cute pink Timberlands, and I was like, oh, my God, these are so cute. And I dreamt of it seemed like it was a long dream where I was just so excited to be wearing them. They were like these baby pastel pinks, and because, I'm trying to expand my horizons when it comes to clothes. I talk about Stitch Fix all the time and what they're introducing me to. And same with GOAT, they have a lot of awesome shoes on their site, because all I have are, I have a few pairs of Chucks, and I have some Zelda shoes and Mario shoes. Nothing wrong with that.
They have those on there.
Oh, well, see, there you go. They have me covered. So I'm just trying to expand my horizon. So I had this dream about these pink shoes, and I was so excited about them. And then I woke up and realized it was a dream. And then your picture from last night popped back into my timeline. And I'm like, that's where I got that from. Because it was so
Yeah, it did. Because it was so popular.
Oh my God. No, you made me dream about shoes that I now want in real life. And I don't know if they exist. And I'm kind of sad about it.
You can make custom Timberlands.
Oh, Jesus.
Also, we should apparently get them to sponsor this show.
Apparently. I didn't know you could do that. The shoe world, man. I thought video games were confusing.
Shoes. Oh, this is going to be an awkward segue.
I know. So I wanted to get kind of the upsetting news over with, because later on we have some Nintendo stuff to talk about. And in that regard, today was a day for Britt, in the sense that some amazing games got announced that made me very tingly in the nether regions. So let's just get this sad, unfortunate story tackled from the get-go. So Activision Blizzard has laid off hundreds of employees. This write-up comes from Jason Schreier at Kotaku. So this went live Tuesday the 12th. Publisher Activision Blizzard has begun its long-rumored layoff process, informing employees this afternoon that it will be cutting staff. On an earnings call this afternoon, the company said that it would be eliminating 8% of its staff. In 2018, Activision Blizzard had roughly 9,600 employees, which means that nearly 800 people are now out of work. On the earnings call, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick told investors that the company had, quote, once again achieved record results in 2018, but the company would be consolidating and reconstructuring because of missed expectations for 2018 and lowered expectations for 2019. The company said it would be cutting mainly non-game development departments and bolstering its development staff for franchises like Call of Duty and Diablo. Development sources from across the industry told Kotaku this afternoon that the layoffs have affected Activision Publishing, Blizzard, King, and some of Activision studios, including High Moon. At Blizzard, the layoffs appear to have only affected non-game development departments such as publishing and esports, both of which were expected to be hit hard. Quote, over the last few years, many of our non-development teams expanded to support various needs, Blizzard President J. Allen Brack said in a note to staff around 1 p.m. that was obtained by Kotaku. Currently, staffing levels on some teams are out of proportion with our current release slate. This means we need to scale down some areas of our organization. I'm sorry to share that we will be parting ways with some of our colleagues in the U.S. today. In our regional offices, we anticipate similar evaluations subject to local requirements. The letter also promised, quote, a comprehensive severance package, continued health benefits, career coaching, and job placement assistance, as well as profit-sharing bonuses for the previous year to those who are being laid off at Blizzard. So Blizzard employees receive twice-yearly bonuses based on how the company performed financially. Quote, there's no way to make this transition easy for impacted employees, but we are doing what we can to support our colleagues, Brack wrote. Meanwhile, in a press release to investors this afternoon, Activision CEO Bobby Kotick wrote, quote, while our financial results for 2018 were the best in our history, we didn't realize our full potential. To help us reach our full potential, we have made a number of important leadership changes. These changes should enable us to achieve the many opportunities our industry affords us, especially with our powerful owned franchises, our strong commercial capabilities, our direct digital connection to hundreds of millions of players, and our extraordinary talented employees. Now, they also made some game announcements that they talked about certain games we'll talk about in a second. But, Steimer, what do you think of all this?
I mean, there's just... there's a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Business is hard in general. This business is rough, especially. It's rough on people who work here. Studios close all the time. There are usually layoffs. It's a very tumultuous industry. And I don't remember exactly where I was saying this, but I mean, it's a discussion we've had many times before, I think, industry-wide, of how do you retain talent when this is a norm? When this is a reality of almost any studio you work at. And you have to, if you have a family, uproot everybody, potentially move somewhere far away in order to continue doing your work. And it's just hard. And so eventually you would churn out, right? Like, why would you continue to do that to not only yourself, but your loved ones? So that's part of it. The other part is it's distasteful to talk about how much money you make when you are then going on to lay off a whole bunch of people. Right. However, it also, if those people didn't necessarily have a purpose in like they didn't build their product pipelines out in a way that supported keeping them around, right? And then they also just severed ties with Destiny, and it's hard because on one end it's just, I mean, it's just shitty. The whole thing is shitty. I don't really know. There's nothing you can say to really make it better. But when your product pipelines do not line up, then this does become a thing where you then no longer can support the amount of people that you have, because you can't really just employ people to just sit around if there's nothing for them to do.
Right. And speaking on that, not to interrupt, but this goes off of what you're saying. Jason Schreier also posted something today on Wednesday the 13th that's called the follow of Activision Blizzard's massive layoffs, and I would encourage you to go give that a read. There's a lot of really interesting information there because he has talked with a lot of people that have been affected by this, and he talks about specifically regarding Activision. He says people were laid off at Activision's main office in Santa Monica, California, where an entire team of Destiny publishing staff had been coming to work with nothing to do. Some were laid off, some were moved to Call of Duty or other teams, some in other departments were also laid off. So yeah, I mean, you know, it sucks. And I think the reason that you said this just comes across incredibly distasteful because you see all of these you know, I think they said Kotick made $30 million last year, and you see all these big bonuses being passed around. And running a business is complicated, and I know giving people bonuses of that magnitude is to keep them around, is so the company continues to run as smoothly as it can. But like you said, it was just a very distasteful way of, you know, it comes across like, hey, you have all of this money.
Right.
Can you find...
Why couldn't you have figured out something to do with these people?
And I think that the answer to that is Activision Blizzard is trying to consolidate, like they said. And I think their strategy going forward is less games, but let's reinvest in the ones that we know perform well for us. You have Call of Duty. Crash just announced that it sold 10 million units, you know, and what new positions can you create to employ these people? And I think that's where this kind of disconnect is coming across between the business side of it and then the messaging side of it. You know, it just looks really bad.
Just on any level, there's obviously business numbers, and then there's the emotional side of it, which is this feels shitty and it feels terrible even if you didn't get laid off when you work there. And obviously feels significantly worse if you did get laid off. Mm-hmm. And it's just an unfortunate reality. And yeah, I mean, I don't know really what more there is to say about it, except that, you know, the only kind thing that I see a lot of is there are definitely, the industry, for all its faults, does like to take care of each other. If you have been affected by layoffs, I would encourage you to go on Twitter. I've seen so much support there. People, Mitch Dyer, I believe, has a thread where it's just a doc and it has job openings everywhere. But again, that kind of goes back to my very first point. Is like, it does suck that now all of a sudden you have to uproot your life and move somewhere else potentially. Right. But at the same time, having a job is nice.
Yeah.
So if you are looking, I would suggest you do that. Here's the interesting part. So for the Blizzard, I didn't mean things. Employees, what I meant to say. They seem like I guess it confuses me that it's so specific, saying those laid off at Blizzard. So does that mean that those laid off at Activision did not get career coaching or job placement assistance?
Yeah, I don't know, obviously.
That sucks. And that would be...
So I know contractors didn't get the severance package, but I read that.
Legally, I don't think they have to.
Right, of course. And I think this kind of comes down to, again, if you look at a company like Ubisoft, right, where I feel like they never have layoffs. I can't remember the last time I heard a story about Ubisoft having layoffs. And, you know, I think what they do is they find work, or they'll place you. Now, granted, they're different companies. And I know they run their things completely different, but it, again, comes down to that perception. And then if you look at Iwata, what he did when he was still alive back in 2011, I think he took a 50% pay cut when the 3DS price was slashed and it wasn't performing well. He took a 50% pay cut. I think Miyamoto took a 20 to 30% pay cut. And then just back in 2014, they also, back when the Wii U was performing like shit, they all once again took a huge pay cut to try to support their employees because they felt responsible. They wanted to face that burden on their own and not have it trickle down. So, yeah.
I think that there's something to be said for that, but also Nintendo has like the most. Like they're sitting on a dragon pile of gold. Not to say that Activision is not. They are doing
money.
fine.
Yeah.
They got money. But I think for certain instances of this, there was just no getting around it. And for that, like esports in particular, if Blizzard has decided esports are not a thing that they are going to continue to invest in.
So here's what's going on.
Then turn those people into.
So this is what's going on with Blizzard specifically. And this is, again, from Jason's The Fallout of Activision Blizzard's Massive Layoffs article on Kotaku. Blizzard just hasn't produced many new games of late, increasing tensions with management in Santa Monica. Since the beginning of 2018, as Kotaku has reported previously, the mandate at Blizzard has been to cut costs and produce more games. To those who worked outside of Blizzard's development teams in departments like publishing, esports, QA, and IT, it felt like last year the axe was about to fall. After all, if Blizzard was looking to develop more games without spending more money, they need to lose headcount in a non-game development department. But management said nothing, with no union or other method for collectively communicating. Collectively communicating with executives, employees were left with nothing but whispers. So last night, the picture at Blizzard became clear. Support teams had been gutted. The layoffs were the largest in non-development departments like IT and QA, according to those who were there. The esports department was hit hard, as many within Blizzard had expected. After all, it had been led by Amy Morhaime, wife of Mike, the longtime Blizzard CEO who left the company last fall. She departed around the same time. The two Morheims were seen as big advocates for esports, and basically, as soon as they left, people thought the department was in danger. Blizzard's publishing department, which is comprised of PR, marketing, community, and other game support divisions, were also hit hard.
I find that interesting because, like, you do need those people. I mean, maybe there's just more of them that work there still. I don't know how they're structured, but it takes a village, as they say, and
yeah.
I hope that Activision and Blizzard's lesson here is not that PR and marketing and all those things are expendable.
Right.
Because those are definitely, yes, you need a good product at the end of the day, but those are the people who help get those products to your consumers.
Oh yeah, they're integral. They're on the back end. You don't really ever hear of them, but without them, you don't have the product, like you were saying.
And not only that, like QA, hello, you need to bug test your games.
Yeah, and I mean, like you were saying, layoffs just fucking suck, and it's really sad and unfortunate, and I hope everyone affected finds, something where they can stick their feet to, be happy for a while. This is just an unfortunate side of business. This happens. Businesses are always trying to become efficient and optimize and widen those profit margins, and that's...
Yeah, I mean...
That's it.
Oh, sorry. No,
I'll say that's kind of the bottom line at the end of the day when you have investors to report to you and numbers to report, and it sucks. I think what you just hope for is a good severance package, and you hope for at least some sort of heads up. Granted, with this quiet period, they couldn't legally talk about these things that were going to happen, and it's just a shitty situation.
Yeah, I think particularly in this industry too, a lot of people, I think, overly attach to a company. And I think in general, just love what you do, but don't necessarily give all don't sell your soul for a company, if that makes sense, because it's not going to do the same for you.
That's it.
Like, that company can never love you back.
That's true. It's the world of business, man. But again, just kind of put a pin in this particular conversation. We hope everyone finds something quickly, and like Steimer was saying, it was really heartwarming to see everyone on Twitter specifically band together and post all these job openings. You had all sorts of companies saying, hey, we're hiring, this is what we're looking for, get in touch, DM me. So there's a lot of opportunity there in Twitter. It's probably hard to immediately hop into the job searching world, but it's there for you if you need it.
Yes.
All right, so more Activision Blizzard news and shenanigans. This comes from Blizzard via Polygon. Blizzard has no major game planned for 2019. So Blizzard Entertainment has no, quote, frontline release planned for the 2019 fiscal year, the company announced during its quarterly earnings call with investors, meaning there won't be any new titles in the next 12 months, including a long-hoped-for mainline entry into the Diablo franchise. So sad. Okay, quote, we expect materially lower financial performance this year, said Activision Blizzard President Collister Coddy Johnson on the conference call, during which company brass discussed its 2018 fiscal year earnings. Quote, 2018 benefited from the release of World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth, whereas we are not planning a major frontline release for 2019. Whether that precludes the upcoming mobile game Diablo Immortal or World of Warcraft Classic, the re-release of the MMO's original pre-expansion version is unclear. But with both playable at BlizzCon 2018, it seems that these games may not be counted as frontline. We've reached out to Blizzard for further details.
I think that's a pretty safe assumption.
Yeah.
Because especially given the reception at BlizzCon for Diablo Immortal,
yeah.
I would say they are very careful with how they will promote that game moving forward.
Yeah, this obviously it's a bummer. I mean, big Diablo fan here. Steimer, are you a big Diablo fan? I know Andrea is.
I like Diablo a lot.
Okay,
it was the game I had a LAN party for in high school.
That's fucking awesome. You're such a badass.
Not really, but
I think you are. So yeah, I mean, I guess this is just kind of sad for us fans. And also, they didn't talk about Warcraft Reforged, which is the remaster of Warcraft 3. So I'm assuming that isn't considered a frontline game as well. But I said it before. I'm going to play Diablo Immortal, but at least they're setting expectations now, I guess. Like, it's not going to be that great of a year for us. It happens.
I mean, they need to in order to keep their financials in check.
Yeah.
Because if you don't say that and then the financial performance is dipped, that causes even more uncertainty, which causes more churn anyways.
Yeah, and as we've seen, specifically in the past couple of weeks, a lot of these forecasts have just been overshot by quite a bit, right? The Switch under, fucking EA way under, so.
Everyone's just like real confident in themselves.
Everyone's like, we're gonna sell so much.
Everyone I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's in everyone's tap water, but everyone's gotten real big for their britches.
So speaking of more Activision stuff, and then we're going to move on. Call of Duty's 2019 game will have a campaign. I feel like we were just talking about this last week with Battle. What was it? Oh, with Black Ops 4 and how, I wanted my campaign.
Yeah, well, we were talking about Battlefield versus Black Ops and how just because it didn't have a traditional campaign, it didn't really seem to impact the sales.
That's true. And that's when we did
at least as far as we could tell. Granted, Activision has not released any specific numbers. They've only released profit.
And we did all of our awesome math.
Oh my God. The world's worst math.
All right, so as part of Activision Blizzard's earning report, the company announced that a new Call of Duty game is coming out in 2019. It also confirmed the return of a key feature absent from last year's entry. Activision management offered some very high-level insight on the game, saying it will appeal to veterans and newcomers alike. The company added that the game is a, quote, great step forward for the franchise, going on to say that it's rooted in Call of Duty's history, which suggests it will be a sequel to an existing sub-brand. Also during the call, Activision management confirmed the new Call of Duty will feature some kind of campaign, which is notable because Black Ops 4 did away with the traditional campaign. Whether or not the new Call of Duty returns to the traditional campaign remains to be seen, however. Whatever the case, Activision also confirmed the new game will have a, quote, huge, expansive multiplayer world as well as fun co-op gameplay. More details.
That's good for you.
That's so good for me. More details are expected in the coming months. Activision has high expectations for the game, though it's predicting that sales of the mysterious game will be lower than 2018's Black Ops 4. The Black Ops franchise is historically the best-performing Call of Duty sub-brand, so a year-over-year downturn in sales is expected. So,
Blippity blops. Everybody loves COD blops.
Girl, that's amazing.
What?
I don't know. That's a little jingle. It's like something you can drop every time we talk about Call of Duty.
We always call it COD blops.
COD blops. That's like the most undignified game for like one of the best sellers in the industry. So I have some transcriptions that I did not pull these myself, but this is about the Call of Duty campaign and how much they really are hyping this thing. So this comes from Rob Kostich, president of Activision. And he says, it's going to feature an entirely new campaign, a huge and expansive multiplayer world, and of course some fun co-op gameplay. But from day one, what gets me really excited is every time we've shown this title internally, it just creates a ton of buzz. Now, I wish I could tell you a lot more right now, but unfortunately, you're going to have to wait. But I think it's going to be really worth it. We can't wait to share with the world. Then Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick chimed in as well to provide some additional hype for this year's game. He says in recent memory, he's never seen this much enthusiasm for a new Call of Duty game internally. He says, and I'll just say, you know, when you look at over the last decade of Call of Duty content, I think that Rob is underselling what the internal enthusiasm is. I haven't seen this much enthusiasm that I can remember almost ever. So we're excited about the fall release of Call of Duty content.
But we're not so excited about it that we think it'll do better than Black Ops.
I thought that was pretty fucking funny. I was like, oh god.
This is going to be great. Just not as great.
Just not as good as Blops. I mean, so this kind of brings up an interesting question. What do you think this means for Blackout, Call of Duty's Battle Royale mode? Because right now it's locked behind Black Ops 4.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine to keep it relevant that you either have to, do you include it on every Call of Duty game going forward as like just like a free bonus, or do you offer it as a separate standalone product? Like, what do you do in this case?
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, but I could see it.
Steimer, if you were Bobby Kotick.
I do. Granted, I haven't played Black Ops, so this is going to be
okay. Close your eyes. You are Bobby Kotick.
Relatively uninformed opinion.
No. I want you to get in the mode. You are Bobby Kotick. You are sitting in a chair full of money. There is money raining from the sky as if it were a torrential downpour. And you're like, what am I going to do? Rub your beard a bit.
Oh my God.
I don't even know if he has a beard.
I would quit my damn job. I would go move to an island, and I would never talk to another human being.
I feel like we were just playing D&D, and you just hard pivoted where I was going with that. That was good.
Yes. That's like when we were playing D&D in Boston. You guys were all talking, and I was like, I leave this group.
That was so good.
That's what my character would do. Anyways, what were we talking? Oh, so, I mean, it's hard because you could technically just pull Blackout out probably and be like, it's a free-to-play thing. Here you go. Mm-hmm. Figure out microtransactions in it. I'm assuming it already has them. Again, I haven't touched it. So this is an uninformed opinion. But then the trouble there is, does that then cannibalize your other releases? So I don't know what they're going to do with this. I'm curious to see because each of the studios takes turns and each has their own spin on things and the way that they like to do things. So we shall see. And I am very curious because Black Ops, I believe, was still the last Black Ops was like continued to be played even to this day, probably. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous the amount of people who love Blippity Blops.
Blippity Blops.
Blippity Blops is the best COD,
it's
apparently.
The best. Yeah, it'll be interesting because I feel like to keep this game relevant, let's say it has a really good run and, you know, a year and a half from now, are people still going to have to buy Blops, what do you call it?
Blippity Blops.
Blippity Blops 4 in order to get Blackout. That just seems really silly and a weird business decision, but who knows? I'm excited about...
I don't know.
I'm excited about a campaign in Call of Duty. I do like my little 4 to 5 hour campaigns because I suck at them. I'm really bad. It's always baby ass baby mode, but they're so immersive and so cinematic. And I loved World War II. I thought that you never played that one, right? Or did you?
I played parts. Again, the last one I finished was Modern Warfare.
Oh, that's right. We talked about this last week, and I already forgot.
Because I started Modern Warfare 2 and never finished it, and I've started a whole bunch of campaigns and never, even though they're short, I won't finish them because I don't find them interesting.
Oh, well, there you go.
I don't like a lot of straight first-person shooter gameplay. It just bores me.
Oh, the linear stuff you like to be able to go out and. Yeah,
I need something. I'll do it for a few hours. It's fun, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done.
I did the thing. Well, there you go.
I did
Again,
it.
Don't make a campaign for Steimer. She won't play it.
Yeah, it's not for me. It's for everybody else, which is fine.
That's fine.
You may have things.
Steimer, do you want to take on our next gaggle of news, which is all about Sony PlayStation
all about
stuff?
Sony PlayStation. So PlayStation boss says E3 hasn't kept up with the changing industry. Sony's decision to forego E3 2019 caused waves, and the statement regarding its rationale revolved mostly around finding, quote, inventive opportunities to engage the community and plans to, quote, think differently and experiment. SIE Worldwide Studios head Sean Layden has now explained further, touching on not only what they plan to do differently in the future, but why E3 was no longer useful.
Oh, man.
Layden told I don't disagree with him. I love E3, but he's bringing up some interesting points. Layden told CNET that the nature of E3 has been built up around standards that no longer apply, both for retailers and journalists. At its inception, the show had been a place for retailers to plan their stock and for journalists to plan cover stories for magazines. In the now modern era, he says, both of those have shifted. Quote, now we have an event in February called Destination PlayStation, that's a mouthful, where we bring all the retailers and third-party partners to come hear the story for the year, he said. Quote, they're making purchasing decisions in February. June now is just too late to have a Christmas holiday discussion with retailers. So retail has really dropped off. And journalists now, with the internet and the fact that it's 24/7, there is game news, that's lost its impact around that. So the trade show became a trade show without a lot of trade activity. The world has changed, but E3 hasn't necessarily changed with it, he added. Against all of those market forces, Sony was making a plan to do fewer and bigger games, which meant that June was no longer a good time in the year to outline its latest plans. Quote, we feel like if we ring the bell and people show up here in force, people have the expectation, oh, they're going to tell us something. That's, yeah.
That's true.
It's pretty spot on. The idea of setting expectations echoes Layden's rationale for skipping PSX in 2018, which was announced before Sony pulled out of E3 as well. We don't know yet when Sony will be outlining its own upcoming plans or in what form. It follows big publishers like Activision and EA who have scaled back their E3 plans in recent years. Sony's show in 2018 was also very different, focusing narrowly on just 4 games, also herding people through like cattle. That's what...
Oh, dude, that was so weird.
It's really weird. For its part, Microsoft seems eager to fill the void left by its biggest console competitor. Xbox head Phil Spencer has said the company is going to, quote, go and be as big at E3 as we've ever been. Man. Brittany, as somebody who's attended a lot of E3s, what do you think?
Oh, man. Okay. So there's a lot here. Now, I love E3. In fact, when I first started my venture into the gaming industry, the only goal I had in mind was I want to get into E3 on my own credentials. Like, once I did that, I thought I would have made it. I would have been satisfied. E3 has always held a very, very special place in my heart. And I love the energy of E3. Can you tell I'm buttering it up for a hard pivot?
Oh, yeah. Pivot, girl, pivot.
I love...
Slam the brakes.
I love E3. I love the energy of E3. I think it's important for the industry to have a lot of media in one place, and I think the hype and the wave of everything going on and all the attention it brings to the industry. I mean, our E3 coverage is some of our most watched and consumed coverage we do on What's Good Games. So it's important, and I still think it's relevant. However, I think he does make a good point, and it's a valid point that, when was the last time Nintendo held a press conference at E3? I think it was 2013. And now they do their little mini Nintendo Directs like we're going to cover here in a hot minute, and look at EA pulling out and kind of doing their own thing on the side. To be
fair, though, the EA pulling out was like...
That's what she said.
Kind of a...
Sorry. I had to.
No, that was a good one.
Thanks.
That was a good one. EA left. And I had to rethink that phrase. Left and didn't do too much differently.
No, you're not
just
wrong.
not on... They're just not at LACC, which is kind of bizarre. But Nintendo, I think, is a better example of they're at E3, but they aren't doing the same song and dance everyone is at E3.
Yeah.
They've found a way to make more sense for them and their business, which I appreciate.
Yeah, you're right. So you have Nintendo has a presence at E3. They have their direct press conference, usually that Monday or Tuesday. And now, last year Xbox wasn't on the show floor, but they did have their press conference, but they had the thing outside in the Microsoft Theater, right? They did have a mixer presence, I think, on the show floor. And PlayStation did something really weird. Like Steimer said, they herded cattle for their weird press conference. However, we did get the Resident Evil 2 announcement, so therefore I'm forever grateful for that press conference. So good. So yeah, things are changing for sure. And we do have events like PAX and other things going on where you can kind of get the same sort of kind of thing out of it, right? It's just
Totally.
with E3 has just been historically for the industry the place where you announce all of the big things. You bring most of the media into one spot, whereas with PAX West and PAX East, I think some media tend to skip those events because typically you don't have the news drops that you have at E3. So yeah, we're kind of in a weird spot.
I think it's an interesting point that he's making about how E3 hasn't tried to change going with it. I will say they have tried to change. I just don't know that they've changed in the way that makes sense for publishers. So them trying to essentially become more of a public show.
Right.
So they, instead of leaning into how do we make this more impactful for a trade purpose, went, we're going to be sort of a community show, but not really. And because now, similar to what you were saying, a publisher is going to look at it and say, now I have to do something at both PAXs and E3, but basically you have so many choices and so many options of where to put your game and when and why and what makes sense and how much money is it. And given the landscape right now, I could see why people would be like, you know what, E3 is not worth the investment for that particular purpose. And also it's expensive. It's expensive to do those conferences, especially.
Oh man, that booth space.
No, just the conferences.
Oh, the
not
conferences.
even not even on the show floor, but yes, those booths are also very expensive. It's all expensive. It's millions of dollars to go to this thing. And so Nintendo cut some millions by not having a press conference. And then instead doing Nintendo Directs and just being like, nope, this is what we do now. And props to them. Good pivot.
Yeah.
Versus, other people have like EA, I assume, pulled out of, God damn it. EA left the show, I assume, because it was I punched the microphone. Ow, that actually hurt my hand.
We're on the rails, choo-choo, on the rails. Steimer's beating himself up.
My thumb hurts.
Yeah,
I'm assuming they did it for price, is basically what I'm saying. In a way to try and EA even tried to lean further into the community aspect of it versus E3, which is still sort of straddling a weird line. And it doesn't quite have an identity anymore. And it's not quite sure what it's for or what it should be. It's still a very exciting time for all of us because we have, number one, that nostalgia around it. And number two, there are still a decent amount of announcements. There's still a good amount of energy there. So it's still a positive event in the industry. I do think Sean Layden is correct in that it needs to pivot in one way or another to continue to stay relevant.
Yeah, and if you look at back when E3 first started, I don't even know what year that was, the 90s, right? You didn't have live streaming. You didn't have this thing called the internet. Whereas now, does it make sense to host I don't know what you'd call it, a physical press conference? Like Steimer said, those are expensive.
They're expensive, and the tech doesn't necessarily work. Oh, no. So like Nintendo Directs are super smart because it's all pre-recorded.
I remember when I saw Skyward Sword be announced at, I think it was Nintendo's last press conference. Anyway, poor Miyamoto. There was so much interference with that Wii remote that it just wasn't fucking working. And I was like, oh no, this is so bad and sad. But yeah, times have changed, and they're probably a lot more financially responsible, or what am I trying to say? Efficient decisions when it comes to the moolah that these companies can make. That said, I think E3 will continue to thrive. We saw record attendance. Obviously, now they're opening it to the public, and you're seeing off-site panels and keynotes and other things happening all surrounding E3. I just don't know if it's going to continue to be the place for the announcements. I think you might see the announcements more online, in the form of streaming. And maybe E3 is still like the central hub, like, okay, now all these new games are coming here during June. Come here, play our games, report about them, and go on with your bad self.
But I wonder, I think PlayStation, depending on what they do, now if they show up to the same place similar to like EA and are like, hey, we're not at E3, but wink, yes we are. We're across the street or in a hole somewhere. I don't know where the fuck they are. Like they are secret squirreling somewhere. I think then it won't make that much of an impact on it. I think if PlayStation tries to do something at a different time, basically if they do PSX again, and they're like, you know what, we're not interested in talking to straight journalists on their own anymore. We want this to be more of a to the fans kind of a thing. We want to build this out. We skipped PSX in December, and it's because we wanted to do PSX at some different time of year that made sense for us when we were ready to announce our games, show them off exactly when they needed to be shown. Because I think the June thing is shit, and like it's completely shit for any developers. They all crunch like crazy right before it. And they're building stuff that's not even usually in the final game. They're building demos for this fucking show. And like that always throws a wrench in your timeline. So if publishers become more comfortable being like, you know what, we're not actually announcing our shit here. We're going to announce it when it's ready to be announced. I think that's when you'll start to see E3 become we'll need to figure out what it is then. It will have a very big identity crisis.
Yeah. And if I just think about, I mean, even you can talk about this timer too, when we first got into the industry, what a big deal E3 was. Now E3 is still a very, very big deal. I'm not discrediting
it was bigger.
But it was like, you know, like tighten it up, like only like media got to go in. It was a rigorous application process. I mean, I remember fighting tooth and nail to get my application approved, and thankfully I did, but it was not, you couldn't buy a gamer pass. And if you look at it how it was then as to what it is now, where you can get a gamer pass and you can go, and media only hours are very limited. It's crazy how much has already changed in the span of these several years. And so it kind of looks like it is leaning toward maybe, I don't want to say glorified PAX, because I don't feel like that's a fair assessment, but maybe a more industry relevant for announcements PAX community-esque event. Does that make sense?
Maybe. I mean, it's going to morph. It's going to become a different thing, even more different as the years go on. As more and more publishers and developers think about whether or not it makes sense for them to go then, or if they just invest more in PAX or invest more in Comic-Con or whatever show is relevant to whatever project that they are working on.
Yep. E3 made sense. Yeah, E3 made sense, you know, to do the way they did it for a long time. But as the internet becomes a thing and streaming, it makes sense to innovate and all that good, interesting stuff. All right.
Yes, we have one more PlayStation thing. Would you like me to read it?
I would.
Okay, great. So Sony says,
sultry voice.
Oh, thank you. I don't really like my voice, but thank you. Sony says it's, quote, open for business on PS4 crossplay, but developers disagree. In a recent, this comes from Kotaku. I don't know who wrote it, but Kotaku. Anyways, in a recent interview with Game Informer, the chairman of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios said that the company was, quote, open for business when it comes to crossplay between PlayStation 4 and other consoles. The makers of games like Smite and Wargroove say that's not the case. Quote, people keep saying, why doesn't Sony allow more people to have it? Sony's Sean Layden told Game Informer. Quote, all it takes is for publishers and developers who wish to permission it. As ever, just work with your PlayStation account manager and they will walk you through the steps that we've learned through our partnership with Epic on how this works. I don't believe right now there is any gating factor on that. I think they're open to make proposals because the Fortnite thing worked pretty well. Sean, who let you do this interview? I wonder if he just went rogue and started talking out of his ass and the PR handler was like, please shut up. That happens. It happens a lot, especially with people high up on the chain like this. Anyways, they mean well, bless their little hearts. Finn Bryce, the CEO of Chucklefish, which developed and published the recent Advanced Wars-inspired hit Wargroove, took issue with Layden's characterization in a thread about the interview on the gaming forum Reset Era. Quote, we've made many requests for crossplay, in parentheses, both through our account manager and directly with higher-ups, all the way up until release month, Bryce wrote. Quote, we were told in no uncertain terms that it was not going to happen. Wargroove is currently available with crossplay on Switch, Xbox One, and PC. The game is slated to launch later this year on PlayStation 4. Bryce added that while it might be more complicated from a policy standpoint on PlayStation's part for Chucklefish, on PlayStation's part for Chucklefish, implementing crossplay is as easy as flipping a switch. Something people have speculated about ever since Fortnite maker Epic Games accidentally enabled crossplay between Xbox One and PS4 back in September of 2017. That was a full year before Sony announced it would even allow crossplay for Fortnite on PS4 as part of a new beta program. Quote, we wanted to provide some balance on the issue and say that it certainly isn't a question of developers not having contacted their account managers or having dropped the ball, Bryce wrote. We were told no. Wargroove isn't the only game in this situation. Stuart Chiasm, the CEO of Hi-Rez Studios, the makers of Smite, Paladins, and Realm Royale, tweeted at Sony last Friday about the issue. Crossplay for Smite was enabled earlier today on everything but PS4. Quote, it's time to stop playing favorites and tear down the crossplay/progression wall for everyone, he wrote. We have Smite, Paladins, Realm Royale ready to go when you are. So far, Fortnite and Rocket League are the only games with crossplay on PS4. Sony did not immediately respond to a request for comment, explaining what the current process is for getting crossplay approved on PS4. Minecraft, owned by Microsoft, is another obvious candidate for crossplay with PS4, something Microsoft has said in the past it would love to see happen. However, since PlayStation's crossplay beta began, there hasn't been any news of that, or any news that is closer to happening. Microsoft did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the matter. Well, no shit, Minecraft is owned by Microsoft. Anyways, despite recent remarks, it remains unclear when PS4's crossplay library will grow beyond 2 games, or if indeed it is actually possible for developers to simply, quote, walk through the steps to make it happen. This is hilarious to me, especially as somebody who used to work at PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hilarious because it's hilarious the way Sean said it. It's hilarious that I think I called this. Actually, I was like, they're going to let Fortnite do it. I don't know if I even thought that they would do it for Rocket League, actually. Mm-hmm. So I'm surprised. But I was like, they're not going to let anyone do this. This is not like them being kind, gentle giants.
Like we said, it's such a slippery slope. So I have a quote here from BG247, a little bit about this. At least I think it is. We're going to find out because I'm going to live read this and we're going to see how accurate it is. Okay. So they're talking about this whole situation. The executive, Sean, then reiterated that Sony's initial concerns about opening up its ecosystem and communities to other platforms. This is in part because of Sony's belief that PlayStation has the biggest player base for most games. Quote, but I think we learned from the feedback from our fans that it was important. And it wasn't just important to a vocal minority. Though, if you look at any of the numbers of the actual cross-play population, that Venn diagram isn't too big. Even the fans who weren't personally going to participate in a cross-play activity across different hardware pieces just felt that it was kind of tone deaf of PlayStation, he added. So what I get from that is that he's saying not a lot of people are actually using this, but it is kind of more the principle if Microsoft.
But in that case, like, why not let the little ones do it?
Right. That's just it. Like, you're not clearly losing.
It's like, to me, what you just read is more indicative of him saying, we did this to shut people up. And the only people who were the loudest were Fortnite and Rocket League. And they are the only people with enough power behind them to make such a stink about it that we will listen to them, and everyone else, you can go to your PlayStation account manager.
Yeah. That's just, oh man. So, right. I think when we were talking about this way back when this was announced that they were going to do this thing, you
keep
said
hitting my microphone.
You feeling aggressive tonight?
Apparently, I'm
fired up. I'm fired up. That's a Natsu thing from Fairy Tail. Any of my Fairy Tail fans also listening. Anyway, getting distracted. When this came out and you were talking about it, you did say, this is not going to apply to everyone. And then I think it was one of us that also said, once you offer it to one company, though, if you don't allow other companies to partake, you're going to look real bad. It's going to be kind of a PR nightmare because you're going to say, well, obviously we're just picking and choosing, which you're allowed to do. But when you have Wargroove, which is a game that I think could really benefit from this, and, Smite as well, when you have all these other companies doing it and you're saying, nay, we're not going to, allow this, or maybe...
They're not even, they're just like, talk to your PlayStation account
Well,
manager.
the Wargroove CEO, right? They said basically.
No, I know, but I'm saying publicly.
Oh, right.
I'm sure publicly Sean Layden would be like, no, you need to just talk to your person.
And this kind of reminds me, this is a little bit of a stretch, of last week's news topic when we were talking about Disney CEO saying how they have a good working relationship with EA. It's just one of those things where maybe I know Sean's a busy guy. He has a lot of shit going on.
Sean's pretty in tune, though.
So, but this quote doesn't make it seem that way, right? If
No, yeah, he wouldn't know the details of these things for sure.
Right. So it's just, yeah.
I just meant I didn't think that Bob Iger is the same as Sean Layden.
You wouldn't think that Sean Layden's that far removed that he would.
Yeah.
But who knows? I guess it's just one of those things where sooner or later the truth will come out. I mean, indeed. Yeah. So hey, and I think I'm one of those people who crossplay itself is cool, but I think the thing I would be more interested in would be cross progression. Yeah. But
that would be much more useful.
Yeah. So we'll see this. So Steimer, where do you think this is gonna go? This whole crossplay thing with Sony.
If it's just these two smaller games, nowhere.
Do you think they're gonna open it up to more and more companies and developers?
Not until people get angry at them.
Even more angry than they are.
They're not angry right now. They got what they wanted for the most part. Those Fortnite audiences and Rocket League audiences have what they want.
So you don't think that there's, I guess like what I'm getting at is when
you just read a quote from Sean Layden where he basically was just like, we did this to shut you all up. And they're shutting up. They shut up. And so like, yes, what are they going to do? They don't care anymore.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It just looks so bad. And if there's anything we've learned about the internet, is that when people speak up, shit can change. That's just kind of the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So
that's literally what just happened.
Right, but what I'm saying is if you have like Chucklefish and you have, what's his other developer?
Hi-Rez.
Hi-Rez, right, thank you. If they're posting and saying that they're causing a stink about this, I think there is the potential for Sony to buckle down, or if they're just going to ignore it. I can't imagine they would just ignore the problem. I think they would say, hey, we're going to offer it. Anyway, it's going to be...
I think if this is the only article that comes out and they're only talking on a forum like Reset Era, I do think they can ignore it, and I do think that they will.
I don't, but what I'm... Okay. I
know what you're saying. I'm saying this drum needs to continue to beat before that they will do something about it.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're on the same page there because this was covered on multiple different platforms, but you're not seeing the same stink like you're saying with Fortnite because obviously...
Fortnite's a much bigger game.
Yes.
There's going to be people tweeting at them all the time.
Yeah.
There's going to every post you put up, all of the comments are going to be, when is crossplay coming to Fortnite? That's not going to happen with Smite, and that's not going to happen with Wargroove.
Right.
Probably Maybe they will. Maybe they can activate the internet and like get it to happen, which would be great.
It's going to it's going to take a whole bunch of, I think, indies and games like this to kind of join forces and put their foot down and cause internet mayhem. All right.
Jeez.
Let's talk about things that are going to make me grunt and make weird faces and be very, very happy.
Should I read some of the things so that you can grunt?
I mean, I can grunt and read.
Oh. You're a woman of many talents.
I can multitask.
Oh, girl. All right,
okay.
Take it away,
All right, so Nintendo Direct finally happened today, which is Wednesday, February 13th. Nintendo historically has a Direct in January. We didn't get one. The hype continued to build. And so yesterday, Nintendo announced they're having one.
An early Valentine's Day gift from Nintendo to us.
Oh, my God. And I was worried because, when you expect the Direct to happen in January and it doesn't, you're like, oh my God, what are they getting ready to announce? And then your hype builds and you're like, okay, what are they possibly going to announce that's going to make me tingle in my nether regions, like I said earlier in the show. But they did announce some things. So just to go run through some of these announcements super duper quick. Super Mario Maker 2 was announced. The only new thing we know so far, a host of new tools and features will be coming, and it should be coming in June of this year. Steimer, did you ever play Mario Maker?
For a hot second.
Okay. This isn't something...
I would play levels that other people make. Like, that's fine to me. Although, God, some of them are so sadistic.
Yeah. I have not dabbled in the Mario Makers. It's just not something for me, but I would like to play your levels that you make.
It's like Dreams, where I'm like, cool, I'll play the shit that other people make.
Right. But I don't want to create. I just want to play.
I don't want to make anything.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is getting an update this spring. They announced that Joker will be coming before the end of April. So if you are a Smash player, or if you're like Steimer and you just fall off the stage the whole time, maybe
I'm just gonna be Joker and then fall off all the time.
You're just gonna taunt the whole time and see his little animations. Box Boy and Box Girl is a brand new game with 270 stages, including 2-player co-op. This looks super duper cute, and I am very, very, very excited to play this.
It did look cute.
It is super cute. I don't know when it's coming out though. I don't see a release date on this little blurb, but I'm assuming it's sometime this year, obviously.
It's sometime in the future.
Sometime in the future. And then we got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which is coming with some free DLC today, actually, which makes all of the stages co-op, and there are 18 new challenges and 5 new courses coming, which will be coming in the form of paid DLC. And then we got some tidbits on Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order. So all this information is coming from a mesh of Kotaku and Polygon, FYI. So Nintendo showcased gameplay from Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order in today's Nintendo Direct and flagged the game with a summer 2019 launch window. Team Ninja, best known for the Ninja Gaiden and Neo series, is developing the ensemble action role-playing game. Today's video also showed off Carol Danvers / Captain Marvel, whose feature film premieres March 8th. Players will be able to team up online or play locally among 4 Switch systems. Characters from supergroups The Avengers, The Defenders, The X-Men, and the Guardians of the Galaxy and more will take on Ultra Baddie Thanos and his evil-sounding Black Order.
Ah,
Do you care about this at all?
not much, no.
Is it Thanos or Thanos?
Thanos, I think.
See, this is what I'm telling you. I looked at gameplay of this during the Nintendo Direct, and I thought to myself, hey, this looks fun. I like that there's co-op. I'll be the first to admit I don't know jack shit about superhero stuff, so I'm not drawn to this game for that reason. But if there's fun co-op RPG elements to it, count me in.
You are there always for the co-op, girl.
I'm there. And then we got an announcement of Platinum's Astral Chain. So during this week's Nintendo Direct, the company announced a new game from Platinum Games and director Hideki Kamiya. I'm sorry, I suck. Due on Switch later this summer, Astral Chain, an action game starring 2 characters in a futuristic world. The 2 characters are suited up in police uniforms and appear to fight in tandem as they traverse the, quote, multicultural futuristic city in which they patrol. We see the characters chained together in several moments throughout the trailer. The pair of officers isn't really keeping the peace from petty criminals, though. They're fighting giant monsters with their huge swords and transforming human-shaped superweapon. That's an anime-inspired action game for you, indeed. Nintendo's keeping quiet about the full gameplay details for now, but expect some high-intensity, fast-paced action. As per the Platinum Games way, it'll launch on August 30th on Nintendo Switch as an exclusive. And they also talked about Bayonetta 3 and was like, hey, it's still a thing that's being developed. Don't worry. We hope you look forward to it.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye. This game looks cute. I would say I'm mildly interested. I don't know enough about it yet to be like, I'm hooked on it. It's kind of like that multicultural, like, it's not that. It's the city. It's the city.
I was like, what?
No. I was gonna read the verbatim of how they describe the city, which is a multicultural futuristic city. Multicultural thing, interesting. Futuristic city, not so interesting to me. But
you don't like most things,
right? Wait, no.
But you do. Like, you love a lot of
Wait a
things,
minute.
but like you always are like, I hate trees, I hate cities, I hate real life. And I'm like, both of these things cover most games.
I know. It's never, floated my boat, tickled my fancy. I don't know. Cities and trees, man.
In my head, for some reason, I'm not even gonna. I don't know.
No. Now you have to say it.
When you said tickle I almost said whistle, and I was like, that's not a saying. Is that a saying?
I don't think that's a saying.
Whistle.
I'm
it's
sure.
Not.
No, it's, yeah.
Anyways.
That's a good one. Tickled my fancy. Right. So it looks interesting, but like not yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I ever play that. I probably will. It's a Switch game. And then Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is coming summer 2019, so that's a slight delay, but it's also coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Just for reference, this game was funded in Kickstarter back in 2015 when you could get it for the Wii U or the Vita. You can't anymore. Sad day. You had to change your console of choice, obviously. And now I think the most interesting thing that came out of, well, that's not true.
That's not true.
Personally, the most interesting thing we're going to talk about later, But from a business critically whatever standpoint, I think Tetris 99 is fucking fascinating, and I think
hilarious.
It's hilarious and it's brilliant. So Tetris 99 is available today as a free download exclusively for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. It's a competitive online multiplayer version of classic Tetris gameplay where 99 contestants vie to be the last player standing in the fierce puzzle game. So players can attack one another with garbage, i.e. tetrominos, to thwart one another's clearance strategy and fill up their screen. So it's Tetris Battle Royale.
You got 99 problems, but Tetris ain't one.
Oh, yeah, girl. Look at you dropping that pop culture knowledge on us.
This is so weird, but like so amazing.
It's
also.
amazing. It's fucking brilliant. So first of all, you have Tetris, one of the games that on this planet that I think can be played over and over and over again and never really get old or boring. And now you add this competitive element to it. It's Tetris Battle Royale, which is hilarious. And I was watching some gameplay of this, and it's crazy. It's hectic. You know, you can see, because you have your main Tetris grid in the middle where you are playing your game, but then you have the other players off to the side in little mini diagrams or whatnot.
Sure.
And you can see which games are about to send tetrominos your way, and I think you can see which grid you're about to send your garbage to. And it says, you know, what place you're in. It tells you which players are knocked out. And it's brilliant that they put this behind Nintendo Switch Online, because recently Nintendo said, hey, you know, we have 8 million subscribers. But what we're noticing is that they're worried that, okay, so a lot of people are only subscribing to the 1 month plan, and they want people subscribing to the 12-month plan, or, you know, making more of a commitment. And to put this game behind that just makes so much sense. It's an online game, so if this was on any other console, you'd have to pay for Xbox Live Gold or PlayStation, whatever, to get those online features. And it's so smart. This is a game that I don't think is ever going to grow old. And so you're always going to want, if you love this kind of thing, it's, you know, you're not going to have incentive to, if you love this game so much, you're like, I'll pay the $20 a year so I get access to Tetris 99, not to mention all of the other NES classics that are that are offered on the platform. Anyway, I just think it's brilliant. Good job, Nintendo. Steimer, do you give any fucks about this?
You just gave all of the fucks, so I know.
I rambled. I was really excited about it. Okay.
Let's go.
Steimer is not fucking around. She's like, I gotta get to bed.
I'm tired.
Listen, we're professionals. We don't get tired in this job. Assassin's Creed 3 Remaster is coming to Switch on May 21st, if you are interested. And then they talked about Fire Emblem Three Houses. So, in Three Houses, 3 ruling powers share the land in relative harmony. You, either a male or female character, are a mercenary under your father Geralt, not to be confused with Geralt, command, and you receive an offer to teach at the Officers' Academy. Here's how a Nintendo press release sums things up. Quote, the Black Eagles, the Blue Lions, the Golden Deer, 3 noble...
Is this that Nickelodeon show? Fuck, what was it? Legend of the Hidden Temple?
Oh my God.
The Black Eagles, the Blue Lions, the Golden Deer.
I freaking hope so. I love
That'd
that
be
show.
amazing.
That was the best show ever.
We need a crossover. This is the crossover we need.
I used to pretend I was in that show. That was so good.
So good.
3 noble houses that are part of the Officers' Academy, an elite facility that trains students in the ways of weapons, magic, and special skills. As a professor, the player must choose one of these houses to lead its students into grid-based battles with life or death stakes. Each house is comprised of many different students to meet and train, each with her or his own personality and skills. These students can interact with each other at the academy, strengthening their bonds and supporting each other on the battlefield. Fire Emblem Three Houses was originally scheduled to launch this spring, but will now release for Nintendo on July 26th. For devotees of the series, the Direct also announced a collector's edition. The Seasons of Warfare edition will include an art book, a sound selection CD, a 2020 calendar, and a steelbook case in addition to a copy of the game itself. You can get a look at it online. According to a listing on Best Buy's website, this edition will go for $100. So have you seen this yet, Steimer? This
I saw the cutscene,
the trailer. I don't. It kind of actually deterred me. I mean, I'm gonna play this game, but it looks kind of like it's a teaching sim. Like, I don't want to play the role as a professor.
You want to be the student.
I want to go on a grand adventure and go, like LARP around the wilderness and fight.
This is old person.
This is
Fire Emblem.
old person Fire Emblem. So I wish Alexa was here. If you are a Fire Emblem fan, like, let me know. Did this announcement get you more excited for the game or less excited? Because I don't really want to have to come up with a lesson plan for these kids. I just want to go like live my best life and go about my business. But hey,
I mean, I hope that's not part of the game, but
I mean that's what it looked like. Something
you're
else,
making a lesson plan?
Well, you have to learn you have to optimize your students and come up with training regimens, I think, for them. Regimens, I don't know. It was kind of weird. It was
I feel like those are just going to be mostly menus, but maybe not. I don't know.
It was a weird trailer. Also, they talked about Dragon Quest XI. This isn't on this. That's coming finally to Switch. I'm trying to figure out.
And they have cute little toggles between the 16-bit and the new.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was
like,
no,
like, did I have a hallucination? Did I imagine that?
You're not wrong. I'm trying to find out when it's coming.
When it's coming.
Yeah.
Well, while you're looking that up, in the meantime, Hellblade has a release window of spring 2019. It is coming to Nintendo Switch. Dead by Daylight is also coming to Switch this fall. That's it.
Okay.
Delta. Okay, you got it.
Oh no. Sorry. It features new music, new character storylines, and the ability to revert the overall look to the game to a classic 8-bit design. So yeah, this is Dragon Quest XI coming for the Switch. It doesn't look like we have an actual release date. Why don't websites put all this important information right at the top, man? I'm telling you.
I have it.
Oh, this fall. Okay, this fall. Yes. So if you haven't played this game yet, I'd highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's really, really good. All right. So you talked about Hellblade. You talked about Dead by Daylight. Deltarune. So this is the follow-up to Undertale, and the first chapter is coming February 28th, which is free. Further chapters are being developed, but those will not be free. It's also coming to PS4 too. Yoshi's Crafted World is getting a demo. It should be out by the time this podcast releases. It's still coming out March 29th. And now we get into the Steimer, I'll let you read this.
Shit that you are excited for because you're going to make a bunch of noises. So, Rune Factory 4 Special is a fully remastered version of Rune Factory 4 exclusively on Nintendo Switch in North America. Interact with townsfolk, grow vegetables and fruits at the farm, hook some fish, cook up a storm, raise some monsters, and maybe even find friendship and love. There was a real nice wedding dress going on in that.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, so that's coming later this year. And then the thing I assume you are very excited about is they confirmed that they are working on Rune Factory 5.
So yeah, like I think it was last week, I was telling you how I'm getting the shakes. Like I need a farming game real bad. I'm kind of going a little crazy. And so I tried Rune Factory 4 on the 3DS and it kind of clicked with me, but it was a little obscure and I didn't quite understand what I was doing and why I was doing it. However, I feel like with this, I'll give it another shot. And with Rune Factory 5, okay. And I can get married now. And I don't know if we could do that in another one, but I can get married.
Well, let's get married.
Let's get married. Yeah, very, very exciting. Yay. I love growing vegetables.
Yeah, you do.
Keep going.
Okay, sorry.
No, this hype train has started.
Okay, Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy 7. Okay, well, that's not even a headline. But anyways, Final Fantasy 7 is launching for Switch next month on March 26th. But Final Fantasy 9 will be available in the Switch eShop later today. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, everybody, meanwhile, is set to arrive next month on March 20th. Co-op Chocobo Dungeon Crawler, there's a job. Wait, what?
Sorry, those are my own notes.
Oh,
I anticipated that I'd be reading this.
I was like, that's not a full sentence.
Those are my own notes. So yeah, okay. So we knew these games were coming, right? And so we're like, okay, cool. Final Fantasy 7 coming next month, cool. Final Fantasy 9, when they're like, it's out today, I let out the most guttural, disgusting sound. It almost sounded like
Jason record it?
No, he wasn't home.
He
was at the gym, that loser. And I made this like guttural, like almost like a heaving sound, and I freaked my dog out. And I'm just so excited that Final Fantasy 9 is on this portable, awesome Switch system. It's a cool world we live in, ladies and gentlemen, where I can play one of my all-time favorite games that came out on PlayStation on the Switch. I'm still a little... The game is $21, $20.99. And it's that price on Steam as well. I didn't realize that... I mean, that's not that much for a game that's, going to give you tons and tons and tons of hours of gameplay, 80 hours-ish, depending on how much you play it. But it is a very, very old game. But still, like I know they put in the new features where you could have like God mode, and you could speed up the battles, and you can be in constant trance. So it is a little bit of an additional bonus. But still, I think it's worth it. Anyway. Ugh.
All right, now get back on that train. Get back on it, girl. Because Nintendo is bringing the 1993 Game Boy Classic adventure, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, to Nintendo Switch later this year. The re-release is more than just a virtual console-style release. It is a complete 3D, quote, reimagining of the classic Zelda adventure. As Link, players will once again return to the Isle of Koholint? Is that how you say that? Koholint. For new adventures. I don't know. Anyways, while the new Link's Awakening will retain the top-down and occasionally side-scrolling view of the Game Boy original, the Switch remake will use 3D models and employ a stylish, toy-like aesthetic. The original Link's Awakening was Nintendo's first Zelda game for a handheld device and the fourth in the franchise. First released in 1993, the game was later updated for the Game Boy Color in 1998.
Oh.
I had a Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
Did not have this game, though.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
tell me how excited you were. What noise did you make when this was announced? If you made the guttural noise for
this was more
Final Fantasy.
This was more of a shriek. So
okay, Banshee
yeah,
style?
Yeah. That's fair. That's a fair assessment. So I think a lot of people were expecting the final announcement of this direct to be Animal Crossing because the website had gone down for a little bit earlier today, and people were like, "Oh my god!" Or maybe the announcement of SNES titles coming to the Switch because all of the data from the Switch had been removed. Blah blah. So I'm watching this, and I'm like, "Okay, this is like an anime. What's happening?" And then I see the big wave, and I see the big water. I'm like, "Oh, this is interesting. Okay, whatever." I'm maybe expecting it to cut to like Animal Crossing or something. And then it zooms, and then you see the over the shoulder perspective, which is Link, but there was a glare on my monitor, and so part of it was kind of washed out, so I wasn't sure what that was. But then as soon as they showed his like bottom half, you were see his tunic,
yeah,
and his boots,
bottom
and
half.
Yeah, I reckon I was about to say something very inappropriate. I will not. But as soon as I saw his like white tights and his boots or his white pants and the tunic, I shrieked. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I didn't know what this was gonna be. Now, not that long ago, there were some job listings out for a Zelda game, right? And I think it specifically mentioned 2D, maybe not, but something along these lines was what was anticipated or speculated. So this makes sense. But then as soon as I saw the big egg in the volcano, I was like, "Oh my god, this is Link's Awakening!" And it was. Oh, and it looks so damn cute. Have you seen the screenshots of it?
It does look really cute. I can't say I'll finish it because God knows I finish nothing these days, but I will definitely try this game.
Oh, this is so exciting. This is definitely one of the more obscure Zelda games out there. I have not ever actually finished this. So I had this game back when it came out, which means I was 5 or 6, and I had a Game Boy.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a Game Boy. And I think at that point in my life, my attention span was limited to side-scrolling platformers like Super Mario World. Yeah, that was my first game. And so I didn't think I could quite understand what to do in Link's Awakening because the game doesn't hold your hand by any means. But I do remember wandering around aimlessly, seeing the chomps and seeing the Goombas in the game and seeing the all the little weird things in that game. And so I'm really excited. And I actually tried playing it again probably 4 or 5 years ago on it was either the Game Boy Advance or a Retron. And it was a lot of fun. It was just one of those things that something else came by and then I didn't prioritize it. Anyway, very, very exciting. This is very good news and I'm thrilled, clearly.
Are you more thrilled for what we're about to read?
Okay, so when we got Rune Factory was announced, I tweeted out, I said, "Holy shit, do you think we might get a Story of Seasons announcement?" It kind of seemed a little unlikely because why would you announce 2 similar games like that? But we know a Story of Seasons game is coming. And then the direct ended. And then it wasn't maybe like an hour or 2 later, someone tweeted at me with a link to this. And Steimer, I want you to pronounce all of this for me.
Oh shit, I don't know how to say this.
I don't know either. So I'm pivoting. I'm
Doraemon Nobita no Bokuju Monogatari?
Yeah, girl.
That.
Yeah.
That, which is also known as Story of Seasons, is going to release apparently for Nintendo Switch in Japan in 2019. but for Japan.
Right. So
not America.
Right.
Not
so
yet.
I'll just read this real quick. So on the Japanese side of today's Nintendo Direct, Nintendo has revealed that Bandai Namco Entertainment is going to see, oh god damn it, now I have to pronounce it. Bandai Namco Entertainment is going to see Doraemon Nobita no Bokuju Monogatari for Nintendo Switch in Japan in 2019, aka Farm Story, is the Japanese title of what is now known as Story of Seasons. And true enough to the title, Marvelous, as the owner of Story of Seasons series, is handling the production of the game, while Brownies is the company in charge of developing it. As you can see in the official trailer, this game will let players control Nobita as he performs tasks like any other Story of Seasons protagonist would do, such as farming, raising livestock, and interacting with other villagers. Oh, in addition to the main character group of Doraemon, yes, Nobita, Shizuka, Suneo, and Jian, the town will also have a lot of new original characters to interact with. Okay, so obviously, we don't have to tell you. We don't know what the fuck Doraemon is. Doraemon. I know it's an anime of sorts. I think it was really, really popular in Japan. I think.
I have no idea.
So I'm very, very excited this was announced because it is a Story of Seasons game.
It is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Fujiko F. Fujo. Oh, it's the cat thing. You've seen this cat for sure.
Oh, I did recognize the cat. So that's what that's from. Okay.
It's the cat.
So I'm happy this was announced. And I'm happy because it looks really pretty. And like I said, I'm fucking craving my farming game. I don't know how well this will be. So this has only been announced for Japan. I don't know how well this will be received in the West, simply because I don't think that series is clearly as popular here as it is over there. And I would prefer to play as, a female character that looks like myself, and I can marry and woo and give people turnips and eggs and they'll love me. Like, I want to work on that character relationship building. However, if this is what we're going to get, then I will take it. Are
you going to learn Japanese and figure out how to play this game?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you have no idea. I'm already working on my Duolingo.
Nice.
So the fact that this wasn't announced in in the North American Nintendo Direct, and the fact that it was only announced in Japan's Nintendo Direct, tells me this might not make it out here, or if it does, that might be modified in some way, shape, or form. Either way.
Or it's not gonna come this year, right? Like, 'cause sometimes they'll do the thing where it releases in Japan and then the next year after it comes to America.
Yeah.
Because they gotta translate that shit.
Right. So I would definitely be surprised if this game comes to the West, because it just, I don't know how much it would make sense culturally in terms of how many people would understand it and get and appreciate it. That said, I will fucking play the shit out of this if it comes over here. But I would be surprised if it stays as is. Either way, yes, I got Rune Factory and I got Story of Seasons announcement in the same goddamn day.
Oh my goodness.
I got Final Fantasy 9. I got Link's Awakening. I got two great farming sims. Like, does my life get any better? I don't think so.
Yes, it does. Because we have some more other tidbit stories.
And I call these tidbits of life. These are just little bite-sized things we can just briefly talk about.
Yes. So first one, BioWare, quote, definitely not done with Mass Effect. According to Polygon, who sat down with the team at BioWare, Mass Effect is, quote, very much alive. BioWare General Manager Casey Hudson said, quote, in my mind, it's very much alive. I'm thinking all the time about things that I think will be great. It's just a matter of getting back to it as soon as we can. Mark Dara, was it Dara or Dara?
I would say Dara.
Oh,
sorry, Mark. I know I've met you many
times.
Sorry,
Mark. I forget how to pronounce your last name. Executive producer on Anthem and Dragon Age went into further detail on what a new Mass Effect might look like. Quote, we're definitely not done with Mass Effect. There's a lot of stories to be told. We could pull on the threads we put down with Mass Effect Andromeda. We could pull on threads from Mass Effect 3. There's a lot of interesting space to be explored. Space, get it? Literally. Mm-hmm. Fans will have to wait and learn more because, according to Polygon, BioWare is keeping details on upcoming Mass Effect and Dragon Age games under wraps for the time being. Not only that, they only have so many people, y'all. Like, you can only make so much at a time.
They're kind of working on this thing called Anthem. You may or may not have heard of it.
And, like, they've teased the Dragon Age, so, like, they've got to be doing some work on it.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of one of those no-shit Sherlock stories, but it was making the rounds on Twitter. And I think it's just more people are excited to hear anything related to Mass Effect and any rumblings.
But, like, I mean, this makes sense. Mass Effect was Casey's baby. Like, Casey's not going to come back to this studio and be like, well, I'm putting this in the ground. Like, that's not what he would do.
No. So cool. There you go. That's kind of something we already all knew, but there it's been confirmed. This is exciting. THQ Nordic acquires Kingdom Come Deliverance developers Warhorse Studios. So THQ Nordic announced today that it has acquired Warhorse Studios, the developer behind the 2018 role-playing game Kingdom Come Deliverance. The deal is worth $37.5 million on a cash and debt-free basis. Warhorse is in Prague in the Czech Republic. Kingdom Come Deliverance... What?
Prague.
Oh, Prague, sorry. Prague in the Czech Republic. Kingdom Come Deliverance was the studio's first title. Kickstarter campaign raised over $1.2 million back in 2014 to help it fund the project, billing itself as Dungeons and No Dragons for its focus on realistic combat, no magic, and Central European history. And it has sold over 2 million copies. So again, this was, I think, my number 1 or 2 personal favorite game of the year last year, and everyone at Warhorse is lovely. So it's really exciting to see them get picked up by THQ Nordic, who is also.
But didn't you say that it was super buggy as fuck?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't start out that way. What happened was the more they patched it, the more things broke.
Okay.
Yeah, so from a critical perspective, that's not good at all. From a personal perspective, it's like, this is frustrating and annoying, but I really appreciated what they did. And
maybe Nordic can get them some more resources to their QA department.
Exactly. They're all very, very, very talented people, and I'm extremely happy for them. And in fact, I think today is the 1-year anniversary since that game released.
Oh. Yeah. Happy birthday.
And then finally, Pokemon Go is getting a vastly improved AR photo mode. So currently, this comes from The Verge. Currently, Pokemon Go players can take augmented reality photos of Pokemon they encounter in the wild, and it has proved to be a popular feature, so much so that Niantic says players regularly requested more options. The new snapshot mode extends the feature to all the Pokemon in your storage. Now, when you select a Pokemon in your bag, there will be a camera icon, and from there, you can move to the snapshot tool. This process seems both simple and playful. To get a Pokemon where you want it, you toss a Pokeball in that spot, and it'll appear at scale. Building on the AR feature, you can then move around to capture your Squirtle from the ideal angle. You can then it sounds so silly.
I know.
That's one word for it. You can even give your Pokebuddy a tap or brush to make sure it's focused on you. Now, I'm mentioning this because I got several people hit me up on Twitter and be like, oh, it's Pokemon Snap. And I was like, no, ladies and gentlemen, this is not Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap is about adventuring through the wilderness of the Pokemon universe and finding wild Pokemon in their environment, not releasing your slaved Pokemon from their Pokeballs so they can stand and pose with
a photo shoot
with Michelangelo. This is not Pokemon Snap. That said, cool, fun feature. I'm sure we'll see a lot of interesting and inappropriate photos on the internet.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Oh my God, this is such a bad idea. But
I mean, or is it the greatest idea? Because hopefully if they see how much people want this, they'll make an actual Pokemon Snap.
Oh my God. Joey, Noelle, and I would fucking lose our minds. I'm telling you, in this core Pokemon RPG, there's going to be a mode like that. Because it's going to be fucking open world like Breath of the Wild. And then you get to go, oh, could you imagine? Okay.
I'm trying to not get too hyped for it because I don't know what it is yet.
No, I know. And you're being smart about it. I can't help it. I live for the hype. But before I start drooling and making gross, disgusting noises and you unsubscribe from What's Good Games Forever, we're going to put a pin in this very, very long news segment. And we will return to you with, oh my God, we have a lot to talk about in the next segment. So February 15th, that is the day of releases. We have Crackdown 3. We have Far Cry New Dawn. And we have Metro Exodus. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
If you like to shoot things, you are in for a good time.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to segment 2 of the What's Good Games podcast. Boy, oh boy, we have a lot of games to talk about because there are a lot of games releasing Friday, February 15th. But before we get to that, Steimer is going to tell you all about Robinhood.
Yeah, Robinhood is our lovely sponsor for this segment of the podcast. They are an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. While other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade, Robinhood doesn't charge any commission fees, so you can trade stocks and keep all of your profits. Plus, there's no account minimum deposit needed to get started, so you can start investing at any level. The simple, intuitive design of Robinhood makes investing easy for newcomers and experts alike. View easy-to-understand charts and market data and place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. You can also view stock collections, such as 100 most popular. With Robinhood, you can learn how to invest in the market as you build your portfolio. Discover new stocks, track your favorite companies, and get custom notifications for price movements so you never miss the right moment to invest. Robinhood is giving listeners of What's Good Games a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. So you can go ahead and sign up at what'sgood.robinhood.com. That's what'sgood.robinhood.com.
Yeah, I know Andrea is a real adult, and she uses Robinhood, and she really likes it, and she talks about it all the time. So, there you go. Holy crap, Steimer.
Mm-hmm.
February 15th. I am trying to think of the last time we had a crazy, crazy video game release date like this. Because...
Usually in the fall.
But not like 3 whoppers like this on the same day.
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy.
Well... For me, I love you so much, Brittany. This is not a reflection of you. I don't care too much about the 2 games you're about to talk about.
But you care about me, and that's all that matters, Simon.
I care about you. I care about you so much.
See, and that's what I care about. So we have Far Cry New Dawn, Metro Exodus, and Crackdown 3 all releasing.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, girl, it's finally happening. All releasing
yeah.
Friday, February 15th. Steimer and I have been playing a lot of these games. I have finished Far Cry New Dawn. I am maybe 7
hours. Already?
Yeah. I am 7 to 9 hours or so into Metro Exodus. And Steimer has been playing Crackdown 3.
Fuck yeah, I have.
Holy crap. So I think how we'll start this off is I'll start talking about Far Cry New Dawn. So no one has to listen to me talk back to back because we need to break up this Brit sandwich with that soft, sultry. Oh, this is get real awkward. Steimer filling.
Steinbacher lovin'.
All that lovin'. Okay, so Far Cry New Dawn is obviously a Far Cry game. It takes place 17 years after Far Cry 5, and we talked about Far Cry 5 quite a bit on the show, and we all, I think, kind of had the same general consensus of. It was fun. It was just a bit repetitive, and it had a good idea. It just kind of fell flat toward the end, especially you with that airplane, with the final aerial mission. It kind of drove you a little fucking crazy.
It was not only that; it was the way the game ended. It was the way they designed the story missions. It was the story missions themselves.
The Bliss
it was a lot.
Getting knocked out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, come on.
So what I loved about Far Cry 5 was the co-op aspect of it. I think there aren't a lot of sandboxy, open worldy, whatever word you want to use, games that allow you to play with someone else and kind of implement those RPG mechanics. So when this game was announced, we were all kind of like, okay, this is cool. Is it necessary? Probably not, but hey, it's a thing and I want to play it personally for the co-op. So I fired it up, and now that I finished it, I'm just going to throw it out there. I had way more fun with this than I did with Far Cry 5. They fixed a lot of the issues that you were talking about, Steimer, in the sense that it's not broken down into 3 regions. It's a smaller map. It's not broken down into
Thank God.
It's not broken down into 3 regions. You don't have the same sort of repetitive mechanic where you have to go into an area, right? And then you have to complete a certain amount of missions. And then at some point, you're going to be ambushed by the Bliss, no matter what you're doing. And then you're going to be taken to this weird other part where you have to do this story-based thing. Like, none of that goes down. You can play this game at your own pace. And I don't know if the entire map has been reused, but I did recognize a lot of the landmarks in Far Cry New Dawn that were in Far Cry 5. And Andrea was also talking a little bit about this when she was talking about her hands-on time with it. But, Far Cry 5 seemed very samey after a bit, right? It's all kind of like that brownie, like open fields and so many trees, whatever. But Far Cry New Dawn definitely has an extra spice to it. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but there's a lot of
other
flair.
colors.
Yeah. There's a lot of bright colors. There's all these interesting creatures kind of wandering around.
It has a personality.
It has a personality to it, and I found myself thoroughly just enjoying wandering around the map. And you never knew what you were going to come across, which characters you're going to find. I mean, it plays almost identical in the sense that, hey, you'll find random NPCs wandering along the street, traders. You'll see people zooming by you on their ATVs. The highwaymen now are the bad guys that are involved, and they'll be also zooming down. Sometimes they'll pick fights with you. You'll find them randomly. The animals will still kill you because they're fucking vicious. The Wolverines in this game are like the turkeys of the last game. You don't want to fuck around with them. They're mean.
I mean, Wolverines in general are not a thing you really want to fuck around
and they
with,
bite you in the crotch. Like literally, that's what they do. They just fucking grab on and they're holding on for dear life. Oh yeah, fucking perverts. So anyway, like I said, I had a really good time with this game, more so with Far Cry 5, and I think that's because obviously the environments, the setting, it's a lot more bright, they're vibrant. And if you did play Far Cry 5, it's fun to see the buildings that I was surprised by how much I remembered that map. I saw this building. I'm like, oh, this is where that mission took place. And that's where that happened. And Jason was like, I don't remember any of this because he doesn't pay attention. He doesn't pay attention.
Jason's like me in that. Yeah, I'd be like, what?
100%. You two are very similar in that regard. So that was really fun and rewarding. And also, I just think the characters in this game are much more interesting. You know, you have the twins, Mickey and Lou, who are these bad women. I almost said bad guys, but I was like bad gals, bad girls, bad boys.
But yeah, no.
What you gonna do? Yeah.
What you gonna do
when they come for you? And
bad chicks.
They're bad chicks, but not in like I'm not flattering them. Like they're real fucked up, but they're so interesting, and I feel like the whole situation, like, you know, suspend your belief for a bit, but it's more believable. And it feels more realistic. Whereas in Far Cry 5, you had a lot of this weird bliss bullshit, right? And you're like, this is kind of weird. And you would be in these weird moments where you're walking down the hill and all of a sudden you get pelted with bliss and now you're high and somewhere else and hallucinating, and it was just kind of strange. So because of all the characters and because of the environment and the way the dialogue's taken, I just thought it was a lot more immersive, a lot more entertaining, and I had a much better time with it.
How long did it take you? We
started on Friday and played pretty consistently and then finished it Monday night. By Monday night, we only had about 2 more missions to do. So it definitely felt like a shorter game. I took a picture of all of the our completion stats because I thought that might be relevant. So story missions, 22 story missions. We did all of those. We did 6 out of the 8 side missions. We did 15 out of the 30 outposts. We did 8 out of 10 treasure hunts, 7 out of 21 expeditions. Now, there are 7 expeditions, and these are the events where you hop in the helicopter and you are taken off to a different area. So maybe it's the theme park, maybe it's a ship, maybe it's an airplane crash, and what you do there is you infiltrate, you find a package, and then you have to bug out and then wait for the helicopter to arrive. And when you're picked up, you get a whole bunch of important resources that are required in order to upgrade and build your weapons as you upgrade your weapons. Because there's 3 different classes of weapons, or 4. I think it's 3. And you need some materials you get from those what are they called? Expeditions in order to upgrade your stuff. So, and you can do those 3 different times. You have the first difficulty, second difficulty, and third difficulty. And obviously the third difficulty is the highest one. So we did each expedition just once on the first difficulty, and it was no sweat at all. So you can go back and redo it, and then the gameplay elements change a little bit depending on what difficulty you're doing. We got 5 out of the 5 specialists, 8 out of the 8 guns for hire. We did 23 out of the 30 perks. So there's 30 different perks you can unlock. I think that's what that means. I'm not entirely sure what that means.
Makes sense.
40 out of 105 challenges. Like in Far Cry 5, you do challenges, you unlock perk points. There's 2 different side quests where you have to take pictures throughout the map and then where you can find audio players. And there are 101 different locations that you can loot for materials. So we did 19 out of the 101 of those. So we had a really great time. The first couple of days, we just kind of wandered around. We took our time, we were distracted a lot. If we were going to try to get to this main campaign, we would stop and pivot and do some treasure hunts, or if there was a side mission, we would stop and do that. We would loot an outpost, because once you finish an outpost, it becomes a fast travel beacon for you. And if you upgrade your skill, is it called, there's a specific skill, then every location you encounter can also be fast traveled to. But until you have that, the outposts are good for fast traveling. So we did, most of the outposts once. We did a lot of the looting. We were gathering all the materials. But then once we had upgraded all of our weapons to the highest tier, all that appeal just kind of poofed. And then that was kind of it. Because it is all more or less the same with just different surroundings, right? It's okay, you're at this treasure location. Here's a hint on what you got to do. And you have to go do that thing. And it usually involves finding an underground bunker or whatnot. And you have to find the secret door to get down there. And it's all really fun and good. But we were played on normal difficulty. And once we found that we had these top tier weapons, it just, it wasn't as fun anymore, because you can also upgrade your health and you can upgrade other things, the ability to craft Molotovs and whatnot, or buy materials. But once you, I'm sure if you play on the harder difficulties, that would become a necessity. But for us, it just really wasn't. And so you have your home base prosperity, and you can upgrade that 3 times as well. And you upgrade it by unlocking guns for hire, by upgrading individual aspects of prosperity. So you have to do maybe 5 upgrades to prosperity before you can lock it to the 2nd tier. And then once you upgrade it to the 2nd tier, now you can start upgrading your weapons to the 2nd tier, or your health to the 2nd tier. So it's all kind of locked behind upgrading. Not hard to obtain. We max upgraded our health and our weapons, and it was fun, and it wasn't super time consuming. It did a lot of things better. It felt more streamlined. I guess there wasn't as much fluff, it didn't feel like. I think this game is $49, so it's not the full retail price of $60. Maybe $40 would have been a more appropriate price tag, but either way, if you are...
Is it really $49? That's a weird price.
I think I'm on...
Usually it's $39.99. Or
that's what I thought, but I'm on the PlayStation Store right now, and I'm pretty sure I saw it was $49.99, and I thought,
interesting.
Yeah, let me know. Yeah, $49.99. Oh, that's the deluxe edition. There we go. That makes more sense. So $49.99 is the deluxe edition. $39.99 is the base game. So there you go. That makes more sense. So yeah, I will say that, as part of the story, this has been teased, so I'm not spoiling anything, but Joseph C. does come back into play at some point during the story. And it was around that time that I also was kind of like, why? Why? And I'll just kind of leave it at that. For me personally, it kind of threw me off. It kind of took me out of... I was really invested in Mickey and Lou's story and that whole thing as the highwaymen, but then bringing Joseph back into it. And there's just those moments where you're thinking, why would you do this? If you are a smart human with a brain between your skull, like, why would you go along with this? Why would you put yourself in this position? And then some of the bliss stuff kind of comes back into play, and you're like, why? Not the annoying mechanics of being, ambushed, right? Not that.
Yeah.
But
just the fact that it comes back at all.
Yeah. I could have done without.
You had 17 years.
Yeah. Why?
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone. But some of your favorite characters from Far Cry 5 do return.
Boomer's back. He was the best character. Him, Cheeseburger, and
Boomer would be long.
Peaches were the best.
Boomer would be long dead, sadly.
I mean, not with some radioactive shit.
That's true. But no, you do have new guns for hire, and some of them are interesting, and some of your favorite characters do come back. So what I would say is, if you liked Far Cry 5, or if you even just like the gameplay of Far Cry 5, I would say Far Cry New Dawn will be right up your alley. I think even you, Steimer, might enjoy it, because it did get rid of some of those things that you wanted to punt it into the sun for.
I need to try it. I'm playing Crackdown right now.
Yeah, so you're having a good time. So yeah, and there's a lot to do. I uncovered everything on the map in terms of the Fog of War. There's not like chunks of the map that I haven't been to, but there's still a lot more I could do. And after the game's over, you can return to the map and do stuff. So and if you want to lose yourself, and if you're the kind of person who just likes to roam around and discover and immerse yourself, like there is a lot for you to do here. And I'll just leave it at that. I would recommend it, especially if you want to play co-op with someone. There's a lot of content, and the characters I really liked what they did with Mickey and Lou. I do wish we would have seen more of them. We do see a little bit, and they are fascinating characters, but it's just kind of the thing where they kind of got skimmed over a little too much. I mean, anyway, this isn't like a story-driven RPG, right? But it would have been nice to have seen more of them. But all in all, I would definitely recommend this game. I had a really fun time with it.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that covers most of the things I wanted to talk about. Steimer,
I realized that all 3 of these are open world shooters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think. No, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should cover on this, but I don't think so. I think I've covered like the most. Yeah. Okay, we're good. All right, Steimer.
Next open world shooter.
Now, this is something you've been waiting for a very, very long time.
I've been a very good girl. I've waited my turn. I finally got my Crackdown.
Ooh, I have the code, but I haven't been able to play it. So tell me.
I really dig it. But again, I am a Crackdown fan. And so I don't know, take that with a grain of salt with what it is. Granted, you can definitely tell how long this game spent in development. Let's say that. Yeah. But it feels like Crackdown. It is. Sorry, I just realized that if you don't know what Crackdown is, it's okay. So Crackdown in general. Let me back up. Okay. Crackdown is an open world game, and for the most part, you play. You're playing as basically a super agent. So you're kind of like a superhero. The art style is like, I would call it lightly cel shaded. Like it's not super cartoony, but there's definitely an element to it. The cutscenes are all given to you and like in a comic style presentation. And really Crackdown is best described as sort of a fuck you game. Like you could do whatever the fuck you want. Blow shit up. It's just fucking fun. It's just meant to be a sandbox where you give zero fucks and do what you want to do when you want to do it. How it usually comes around is that there is a big bad in the form of corporate overlords in a city, and you as the agent need to take it down. But in order to take them down, there's like a hierarchy of baddies that you need to get through. First, you will get intel on these baddies by completing certain mission types. And the game does a decent job just sort of showing you the formula of what you'll be getting yourself into within the first like 30 minutes of the game. The first 30 minutes is basically like, here's kind of what Crackdown is. And you collect orbs. So like as an agent have different attributes. So you have agility, you have firearms, you have explosives, you have strength, and you have driving. Ooh. Which is the worst of the 5.
Oh no!
Well, no, it's just where I hate driving. I never ever level up my driving. I don't give a fuck about driving in this game. Some people might be like, I love the driving in this game. It's not my jam. How you level these things up, each one's a little different. So the firearms, explosive, strength are things that you will level up by killing people in those ways. So by punching people to death, which is really fun, or by using your explosive weapons or blowing things up nearby them to cause them to die, or by just shooting them straight with your gun. Those are how you level all of those things up. Currently in the game, I'm level 5 in my firearms, which is pretty good. Mm-hmm. Agility, however, is different than all of those. Agility you level up with orbs, and the orbs are fun. So like the orbs are just like glowy things on buildings, and you have to figure out kind of how to get there. Once you get to a certain level, it increases your ability to move around quickly. So at this point, I have a double jump and a double dash in the air, so you can kind of get around pretty smoothly.
How long have you been playing?
I don't know, hours wise. I played. I got my code
Friday?
Last week, Friday.
Thursday or Friday,
and I've been playing over the weekend. I didn't play all weekend. I had some other things I was doing during the day, but I've definitely played some over the weekend. I've been playing at night when I come home from work because it's just a fun game to wind down with.
You were looking forward to having it after work.
Yeah, it's been really nice to just kind of smash, and you're like, all right, I just run around and I.
You set me up for that one, baby girl.
I did. I didn't mean to, but I did. Yes. Anyway, so the agility orbs are placed around. You jump to go get them. As you collect them, you level that up. It's all about becoming more powerful and kind of more ridiculous in a lot of ways, and just being super overpowered where you're just like destroying a whole fucking fleet of people. It's great. On the map, all of these things, like I said, will open up. And so each icon is representative of a different baddie, which you need to take down. once you do those little missions, the main boss becomes vulnerable. Then you go to them and kill them. Yes. Yeah. However, what's interesting about Crackdown, I would say, is that technically you can just go find these people and kill them. Like, it's an open world and they don't really gate you in a lot of ways. And the only gate is that you'll die. Like,
that's a good gate.
The gate is that it's gonna be real fucking hard for you to do the thing. And like, each time you hover over anything on the map, like an icon of what you can do, it will give you a percentage chance that you have to complete this mission. Oh. So there was a time where I had a guy on the map and it was like, you have a 12% chance of completing this. And I was like, probably not going to go there then. I think I'm going to focus and level up my skills and go around and grab some agility orbs. And I think what I like about the game is that it has, number one, like a really great core gameplay loop. You are constantly feeling rewarded for what you're doing because you're leveling up those skills by doing the things. The agility orbs in general are super addictive to me. And I'm just like, ooh, there's one. Ooh, there's one. So you just find yourself bouncing around the rooftops a lot. Mm-hmm. And then there are hidden orbs, which are purple question marks that are hidden low. So those are usually in a room somewhere, or like they're just hidden but down below. They have a different noise than the agility orbs. But the orbs, it's an interesting thing because it's like you've been trained, so you hear it and you're like, ooh, where is it? I gotta go get it. Where is it? Where's the treat? Where's the treat? I want the treat. So you have things like that. Some of the other missions too focus on more platforming. So there are these giant towers that you take over with Terry Crews, which is great. And some of those have difficulty levels based on what your agility skill is at the time. And I just did one that was fucking hard.
Oh.
I didn't actually look at what the agility requirement was before I did it. I just started doing it. And so there's different gadgets too that you can throw down. So you have 3 main weapons you can cycle between. You can make them whatever you want. And then you have a 4th slot, which is a gadget of some kind. So either a grenade, which is usually what I have, but then you can also unlock, they have a jump pad, and they have a health circle boost thing, and then basically the same idea, but for ammo reloading. So depending on what you're going into, you can kind of pick and choose. So I took the jump pad with me. I had to actually leave this tower and come back, equip the jump pad, and then go. And it was just like crazy. All these things are rotating. There's like giant red walls that will kill you. They won't kill you, but they'll like knock you off. Yeah. What I will say I appreciate is that with the towers, once you reach a certain height, it checkpoints you. So even if you then fall down to your death, you don't have to do the whole thing over. You have to do you start about halfway or wherever you were when you were dying, which is great. I was so frustrated with this one though. I was like, God damn it! I didn't look. It was probably like you should be agility level 5.
But you did it anyway.
But I did it anyway. Yeah, I said, fuck this. Here's this jump pad. It will help me. Whooshing! And you just like fly straight up, and it's great.
Perfect.
Yeah, so Crackdown is just kind of stupid, simple fun. I didn't get to play. So they had some sessions today, actually Wednesday, for the multiplayer stuff. However, I was at work all day, so I did not get to join any of these sessions. So I don't really know what the wrecking zone is like or anything about the multiplayer aspects of this game. I know that they exist, and that's about it. I'll be basically jumping into any of that with the rest of the world when the game comes out, because those servers are not populated.
That's true.
But also, I don't personally care that much about those. That's not what Crackdown is to me. What Crackdown is to me is just Hulk smash.
Hulk smash.
Oh yeah, when you get the ability to jump up and then push B and just use ground pound down, it's so fun.
So satisfying.
Just like flies. Oh, because the people die, like their bodies just become little orbs. I mean, their body's still there, but the orbs fly out and it's different colors based on how you killed them. So a whole bunch of like little blue orbs will fly out if you just shot him, or it'll be a mix of blue and red if you punched him and shot him.
That's how you level up those skills.
That's how you level up those skills. Because those little orbs constantly are feeding you and giving you the feel goods of like, yes, sustain me. sustain you
Hopefully,
with your lifeblood.
hopefully real humans don't start producing orbs, or Steimer will come try to kill us all so she can get her.
I 100% what I need to level up.
So I guess my question for you would be, has it lived up to what you wanted it to be? I mean, I don't think you've had incredibly high expectations anyway for this game. I think you just wanted it for the stupid fun. So does it satisfy that?
Yes. And I think, again, I think if you were like expecting the world, you're going to be disappointed. But if you were expecting a better looking Crackdown game, you're getting a better looking Crackdown game. That's just not to say, I'll still say I feel like the city is still kind of blocky-ish. Like, I'm not crazy about the way the city itself looks. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's mostly just like I said, I can kind of tell that this was an older game that took a little, it limped to the finish line a little bit. But the gameplay wise, it's still really fun. There was something else that I kind of wish it had a bit more audio for you in the gaps. So what I mean by that is between missions, a lot of what I'll do to not drive myself crazy is I'll then go hunt around for orbs for a bit. But while you're hunting for orbs, granted, I think a reason why they do it is because you need to listen, especially for the hidden orbs. You need to be listening for a weird sound or you'll miss it. However, I'm like, I kind of wish that there was a way to put some music on or something. What I did, I just played my own music. So, but like to like groove to, right? Like when you're like, I'm just going to hunt around for agility orbs now, the game feels quiet as fuck when you're doing that. Again, I believe it's by design so that you can listen and find where the orbs are or have a better, because it's very directional. You'll know when you even just turn if you're getting closer or farther away from the orb.
So I assume you're playing with headphones?
No.
Oh, you're not. Okay, it's still good.
Still good.
Okay.
Still can figure all that out from the TV.
So interesting. So are they ever marked on the map when you stumble across one or you get near one, or is it never?
It's all audio.
Oh, was that in the last one too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Cool. Well, dude.
Yeah, you have to kind of use your ears as like
a guide.
Where is this thing? It's really frustrating when you can't figure out where it is, but you hear it. There was one that was taunting me in this fucking tower. I still don't know where it was. I could just hear the orb. And so I should also say, so there's two main narrators. One is new that I won't talk about. The other one is your traditional Crackdown guy. And he talks to you. He's got such a smooth voice. It's really pleasant to listen to. So he's back and like yelling at you, basically in a kind way, yelling at you like, go get that orb, agent. And you're like, okay, I'll go get that orb. And then there's somebody else that he then kind of banters with, and it's nice. So overall, I really like it. And the thing that is best of all is that this shit's in Game Pass. So it's $10.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
go
true.
Get yourself a Game Pass and try it. I think if you are looking for Hulk smash fun, that is Crackdown for you. And it's just, again, it's got a simple gameplay loop. This is a simple game. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your ass and tell you that it has the most amazing story of all time or the most amazing graphics of all time. It has neither of those things. But it has a lot of heart.
So yeah, I guess that'd be my next question, because I'm more of someone who wants a story to go along with the Hulk smash.
There's a story.
Is it good enough, you think, to justify putting in the time to play this?
I wouldn't play this for the story.
Okay,
personally.
It's all about
a story there, and actually, it's kind of relating back to prior Crackdown games. Mm-hmm. But overall, like, the story is never the strong suit here.
Sure.
You kind of get to know the baddies are fleshed out as you get more intel on them. You kind of learn a little bit about them, but then you just go kill them. So
okay, so that makes sense. I mean, obviously, not all games are about the story; it's about the gameplay and the smashing. So that's
This game is about the smashies, the shooties, the jumpies,
the orbies,
the orbies
to collect.
It's about all of those wonderful things. It's a nice mishmash of crushing shit, collecting shit, feeling baller. I just really, really, it's a game that just makes you happy when you play it, for maybe sometimes inexplicable reasons, but
That's awesome.
Mostly the smashes.
I am so happy that you finally have this game, Steimer.
And I will say, like, I like the size of the world. It's not fucking like ginormous. This is a completable game. I feel like I'm getting to the point where it sort of is going to tip and I'll be able to like knock out everybody fairly, not quickly, but can kind of go through them faster. Because there's definitely a little bit of a level grind as you're like baby level 1, can barely do anything. And then now I'm level 5 in firearms, 4 on most, and then 2.5 on driving because I don't drive. I literally just run around this game. I run through the street.
Is there a limit on the level cap? Or is is 5?
There is a max level. 5 is not the max level.
Okay.
I actually don't remember what the max level is. I don't think it's just 6, but so as you unlock per level, you get a new perk or a new thing unlocks. So for firearms, like a new gun will unlock. For agility, you get the double jump or you get a dash, and then you get the double dash. For explosives, I believe you also get guns. For strength, it helps bolster you a little bit. And driving, I wouldn't know because I don't fucking do it. But
don't make her drive.
If you do really like driving in video games, it's not bad. It's just I personally don't like driving a lot in games. And what they have to level it up driving there, the reason my driving is leveled at all is because of the hidden orbs. The hidden orbs level up all of your skills. Which is why they're really great to find. But the driving you'll do with either races or stunts. They have like jumps that you have around the world. That's how you get orbs there. There's also agility races and shit that you can try and get the best time to get, again, more orbs to
all about
level
the orbs.
Shit up. It's all about the orbs, baby. But yeah, that's Crackdown. I'm playing it. I'm enjoying it. I will definitely finish it. And that was, I guess, will probably be No, didn't I beat another game? I was going to say it's going to be the first game I beat in 2019, but that might be wrong.
I feel like you finished another game.
I feel like I did too.
And it was on the Switch, right? No.
Oh, it was Gris. Yeah, it was Gris.
Yeah, there it is. Look at you, Steimer. Look at you. You're going to finish it.
Oh my God.
2 games this year?
Oh my God. Who am I?
No, listen, this is real life. This is what happens.
This is what happens when you get old and you have a job and you're just like...
When you're an adult, this is what it is. It's fine. Everything's fine. Well, I'm really happy for you. Do you think this has any contender for Game of the Year material in any category? No. Okay.
No, poor sweet baby squirrel. That's not what this game is.
No,
and that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I love it for what it is.
Yeah,
and I think going into it, that's why I do want to set people's expectations with that. I'm not trying to overhype this shit.
No,
but what I am trying to say is that it's just fucking fun.
There you go. It'll be one of Steimer's personal Game of the Years in the best fucking fun category.
Yes.
Yeah, girl.
Best fucking fun category. Speaking of something that sounds miserable, mostly in terms of setting, tell me all about Metro Exodus.
Oh, it's so good. Oh my god, because you're talking about fun, and then I know at the top of the segment you're like, I'm not really looking forward to that. So I was wondering how you were going to pivot that, and you did good. Okay, so Metro Exodus is disclaimer. I know close to nothing about this series, about this franchise. The only reason I was interested in this was because Andrea was talking about it, a few episodes ago when she was talking about her preview event, and she hyped it for me, and I was like, okay, I want to hop into this. So all of my impressions and thoughts are coming from someone who knew nothing about this game, about the series, about the characters, about the world. So it's not going to be the most this is not going to be like a Resident Evil 2 preview thing for me. It's not going to happen. So I haven't finished this game yet. I'm, like I said, maybe 7 to 9-ish hours in, maybe a little less. I've heard that the main story, if you just go campaign can be 10 to 12 hours, but you can easily spend more if you do like the side stuff and do the collectibles and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So Metro Exodus, and I don't know how much of this has been revealed in the trailer, so I'm not going to go too deep into story, but essentially some shit has gone down and you've been living underground for a very long time, but you think you hear voices or you think you heard a radio transmission of someone. So you are constantly, Artyom is your character. You're constantly going to the surface in order to try to find this signal, just a little bit of hope to cling on to. And that's what you're doing, and then that leads down a certain chain of events, of course, and then you find yourself doing a whole bunch of stuff. So this game,
and then you're like, there's a world up here.
Yeah. So because I don't want to go into the story or the characters too much, because I don't know how much, I just don't know. I will say, and this might be a comparison that people might roll their eyes to because they are vastly different games, but it kind of gives me the same feeling as when I hopped into Wolfenstein for the first time. And what was the latest one called? Wolfenstein. What was
the New Order?
Was that it?
Is that it? Was that the latest one?
I think so. I can't keep this shit straight. Let's look. Wolfenstein: The New Order was the 2014 game. No.
Shit.
The New Colossus?
Oh. Yes.
I think was that it? Yeah, that was it.
Yes,
Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. Okay. So I also hopped into Wolfenstein: The New Colossus blind as a bat to the whole series. I didn't know anything about it, but it kind of gives me that same feeling and sense of how the game kind of plays, how you have missions and then you have some downtime in the central hub where you get to talk to these characters and watch them organically interact and kind of grow and bond with them. And then you go on a mission and then you can come back and interact with them. And it kind of gives me those same feels as Wolfenstein did. And that's a very good thing. So obviously, Metro Exodus, I'm so glad Andrea talked about this when she was mentioning about her preview event. It's a survival game. It's not like you're going to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of excess rounds with you at every single time, because that's not how this game goes. So this is obviously a post-apocalyptic game, and it's all about crafting and surviving. And they take that to the very real level in the sense that ammo is scarce, health packs, crafting materials. Like, you're not going to find these things anywhere and everywhere. So there was an adjustment period for me, because although Andrea had mentioned that, I guess I wasn't aware of like to what extent that is the fucking truth of how this game plays, because I'm used to games where you have enough ammo where you can just take everything down. The last survival game I played was Resident Evil 2, and I had more than enough ammo to kill all the zombies. Oh no, you'll be running a lot from the mutants and the beasts and everything else in this damn game, because they are vicious and they do not go down easily. There are 4 different modes. There's baby ass baby mode, baby ass baby mode, which is the level down from baby ass baby mode. So like super easy. You have the normal mode and the hardcore mode. I started on baby ass baby mode because I've said many times, I'm not very good at shooters. I'm not good at having accurate bullets go into parts of the enemy, like the head.
But you were confident enough to not go baby mode.
Right. So I hopped into baby ass baby mode, and that's been a challenge for me. I won't even pretend like I'm breezing through it, because I'm not, because there's no auto aim feature, where like it's kind of like woohoo, but that's not a thing. Anyway.
Ooh, Crackdown has that. Well, it's not really. It's just it snaps to your targets. You might like that.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. That's what I need in my life, because I'm not playing this game to get frustrated and angry. I'm playing it to enjoy the story. Anyway, Metro Exodus. Yeah, these Watchmen, these beasts, these mutants, they do not go down easily, and it is the kind of game where you will have to run more often than not. At least I did when I'm getting past this learning curve of having low ammo, and just not a lot of crafting components. So you do have to do a lot of crafting on the fly in this game as well. I want to say there are 12 different D-pad functions, depending if you're holding L1 or R1. If you hold L1, I believe you get... No, okay, sorry. Let me go back. Let me back up. That makes no sense. If you press L1, you have your D-pad, like up, down, left, right. It'll equip something else. And then you'll have your, I'm playing on PlayStation 4, so your triangle, square, circle, what's the other thing? Triangle, square, circle, square. And then that'll do something. And if you hold R1, then you get more of those button options. So there's...
You missed the X.
The X. Thank you.
I was like, you said square twice.
Buttons are hard, ladies and gentlemen. Buttons are hard. So there's a lot going on in terms of, okay, so there's been more than one moment where I've kind of sat there and I'm like, okay, I need to equip my lighter, and then I need to equip my weapon, and then I need to equip my Molotov. Like, how do I do that again? It's not like you have a radial menu where you have 12 different things at once where you can just kind of, pivot over to and select, and it equips it. You have to, kind of remember, like, but now I'm getting it now, slowly but surely.
You just looked like a crab person right there.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you did like a weird
crab.
Weird crab.
Crab people. Have you ever seen that South Park episode? Oh my god.
Yes, I have.
It's my fucking favorite. I cry laugh every time I watch that episode. It makes me laugh. Okay, yeah. So this is all like, because I know there are a lot of people out there who have also never played Metro game before, and so they're wondering, how can I just jump into it? So from a gameplay perspective and a buttons perspective and how you fucking get around and move and do the things, like expect a learning curve. Expect an adjustment period. It's not a bad thing. It's not so obscure you won't get it. It's just a little different than we're used to. It's not your typical FPS, right? Where it's just pretty much cut and dry. If you've played one, you can play them all. This definitely doesn't play that way. The Wasteland itself is the map looks large-ish, but you move rather quickly, so it's not hard to cover the ground you have to get to, and it's not like there are. It sounds like in Crackdown, you know, there are obstacles where you have to figure out, okay, how am I going to get to that point? How am I going to do this thing? In Metro, it's not that way at all. So it's pretty cut and dry. And how you find landmarks is you use your binoculars and you get a little audio cue, and then it'll mark stuff on your map. And then there are little question marks, and then you can run over there and figure out what they are. And most often than not, it's either an enemy base where you're going to have weird mutant, like, birthing areas or shit. I don't know what's going on.
Gross.
Or
like a nest.
Like a nest. Birthing areas. What the fuck?
Like what the fuck?
Because there are all these like holes in the ground.
Do they have their Lamaze classes there?
That's a weird ass mental image of all these mutants doing Lamaze. Anyway.
Push.
That was the B sound.
People.
People. Oh my god, we're so crazy.
Off the rails.
Rails. Or it's a safe house where you can find a whole bunch of components and do your crafting and craft bullets or clean your weapons and assemble all of your weapons. I'm still dabbling into the weapon crafting because there's some weird ass shit you can do, but it, you know, pretty similar to most crafting systems in the sense that you find a weapon and it has components on it, and then you can strip that and then add it to another weapon, and you can kind of build some pretty crazy concoctions from what I've seen in the trailers and whatnot. So anyway, this all kind of comes down to, again, I'm a noob to the series, and these are the interesting kind of, I don't want to call them struggles, but it's been the adjustment period that I've gone through. So to tie all that up, when it comes to how the game plays, just have some patience and you'll be fine. So as far as the story and the characters go, like I said, I don't want to go too much into it, but when I first hopped into Metro Exodus, it took, I would say, a good like 45 minutes before I felt like I kind of had a grasp on what was going on, and it hooked me because it definitely did feel like I was hopping into a world I knew nothing about that I should have maybe known something about. I didn't quite understand who these people were, why I should care. They throw a lot of characters at you at once, which I'm sure if you play the other games, you're like, oh, that's so cool. You know, that's awesome. Maybe like in Wolfenstein or something, or a Mass Effect game. You kind of get it immediately. But if you haven't, it definitely felt like there was quite a disconnect there. And I found myself playing for me 10 minutes at a time, pausing it, going to do something, coming back. Because I wasn't hooked. I wasn't into it. I wasn't immersed into it. I was just like, okay, this is kind of a drag to get through because I don't understand what's really happening. I don't understand this world. But now after the first like 45 minutes to an hour, you get it, you understand what's happening, and then you're like, okay, this clicks and this makes sense. And I'm really enjoying how the game definitely takes time to pause and have you bond with these characters. Now, I mean, I could be totally wrong. These characters might be completely new to the series. I have no fucking clue, but I have a feeling they're not. Anyway, so I really like how there are those moments where you are, let's say, on a train, for example, and you have all these characters around you, and they're just having like a 5 to 7 minute cutscene just playing out. Right? It's not a cutscene. It's an in-game interaction.
It's a sequence.
Yeah, thank you. An in-game sequence. It's kind of like the ones in Red Dead Redemption we would talk about, right? It's sort of that sense where these characters are just bantering back and forth. They're showcasing their personality. You know, they're involving you, and it's like, okay, and now I understand what these characters are about, and now I'm bonding with them, and each one has their very own distinct personality. And I know people are probably going to die in this game, and I'm already going to be sad about it because I'm attached to them now. I wish they would have killed them off in the beginning when I gave no fucks, but now I have fucks to give, and I'm kind of upset by it.
I'm giving out all of my fucks to you.
It's a little weird that Artyom doesn't speak. He doesn't talk. I mean, he narrates in between cutscenes. You know, he's like, okay, this is a thing, not cutscenes. When you move on to like a next part of the game, the next segment, you know, when you go from point A to point B and it's loading, you know, he'll say, okay, this is the thing we did, and this was really cool. This is my personal feelings on it, and this is what I'm looking forward to, what I'm scared of. And then he doesn't talk at all during the gameplay. And then he only speaks again when, you know, you're kind of loading between segments.
Wait, so is that it's kind of like Wolfenstein then?
But
right? Wolfenstein, do you talk?
Yes.
I don't remember.
BJ.
Oh, you do? Maybe
Yeah.
I'm just on crack.
He doesn't say a lot, but I'm trying to remember. But I remember he'll be talking and he'll mumble things to himself.
Oh, that's right. He does. Sorry,
Yeah.
I lied.
It's fine. Don't lie, Steimer. It's fine. You
Well,
didn't
it's more
lie.
like I
were
feel like
mistaken.
you obviously you hear the most from BJ when it is between those loadings.
Yeah, and it's kind of that. Yeah, but RTM does not speak, and so I kind of wish he did, because I think that was part of the reason why the disconnect was so evident in the beginning. Was I didn't care about who is this character? I don't know.
Who am I? I am a ghost.
Who are you? He's a ghost, and you have a wife in this game, and she's really like cute and fun and spunky. But he doesn't say anything.
And then like next to your dry ass. It's
I
just
know.
Like, what?
I mean, I've seen his hands. He has nice hands and arms, and he has legs. I'm like, all right, this is me. But yeah.
So she's just in it for the sex because the conversation ain't good.
No. Yeah, she could be. I'm pondering that probably a little harder than I should. Yeah, I mean, but
it's the apocalypse. You become way less picky, I would imagine.
Probably. Yeah. Well, no, I think and that's the thing. I think they have a really rich history, because he does have a diary where he doesn't talk, but he writes down all of these thoughts in a diary, and he talks about every time you learn something new about a character, he'll jot down like a paragraph of information about it. So he's talking about his wife, Anna, and how she's the oh God, is he a colonel? I think colonel's daughter, and she's a badass, and he's definitely didn't think he'd be good enough for her, but she loves him and he loves her, and blah blah. So there's a history there. It's just you don't really know about it unless you were to read the diary. But again, if you're a noob like me, the game does stand on its own after like I said, 45 minutes to an hour. You start learning and bonding with these characters, and I would encourage you to not rush through every mission or rush through every area, but to take the time to watch other characters interact, kind of like off the record kind of conversations that don't mean anything to the story, but it brings you insight because you need it if you're a new character or a new player. I'm trying to think if there's anything really else. Not really. I'm having a great time with it though overall. I mean,
do you know what baby ass mode would do for you? Would it make it less survival focused?
I'm thinking.
Do you think you'd maybe have more ammo?
I think you find more crafting materials. I'm sure the enemies are weaker. Kind of like with what Resident Evil did with assist mode. More.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, I'm having a really fun time with it. It did take us, like I said, a little bit to click, but now that it has, I'm super duper enjoying it, and I'm gonna try to finish it before I fly out on Friday. Some of the story elements. Thanks. All right, that's never gonna happen. Some of the story elements are a little predictable. There is a thing that everyone was really excited about, and I'm like, do you guys not see the writing on the wall? Like, this is definitely not going to work out the way you think it is.
Definitely bad.
This is a very bad idea, and because everyone's too happy and too optimistic, and if there's anything we've learned,
totally.
Then there's something's gonna go wrong, and sure as shit, something went wrong, and I was frustrated that no one was like, maybe we should be a little careful about this. But again, I guess that's just when you have a story, a narrative-driven story that you have no input on. That's kind of what happens. This isn't a BioWare game. I can't tell you to go the fuck away, and this is a bad idea. But hey.
But even if you could, it would be like, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it. I know, it's true.
I don't know why I just went into sort of a Mickey Mouse voice there.
I know.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, I know Andrea's been playing. She texted me and said she was up to like 2 a.m. over the weekend at some point playing it. So I know she was back then really enjoying it. I'm sure whenever she gets home, if she ever gets home,
seriously, she's been gone forever.
she'll play it, and she'll probably have more veteran knowledge to drop on your asses. But in the meantime, yeah, this newbie, I'm enjoying it. It's a good time.
Cool.
Wow. This was a beefy, meaty episode, Steimer.
Especially considering there's only 2 of us.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot has been happening over the past couple weeks.
Beginning of the year, it's always really crazy at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I find anyway.
There has been a ton to talk about, but it's fun. We like talking about video games. That's why we do it. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it for this week's episode. I think we covered all of our housekeeping at the top of the show. But in case you forgot, in case you're like, what the hell am I listening to? Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the What's Good Games podcast. Oh, I forgot the intro. Your number one source for video games news, analysis, commentary, and funny stuff.
Well, now you can make it the outro.
Now it's the outro. Thank you so much for listening. Steimer and I appreciate your eardrums and your eyeballs if you're on youtube.com/whatsgoodgames. Is it eardrums? Is that what we appreciate, or the ear holes?
You know what?
The thing
we appreciate all of you, not just your body parts.
And on that note, ladies, I'll be gone next week, but Steimer and Andrew will be here, and we will see you very soon. We do appreciate your body parts, though. Bye!
Mostly for harvesting so that we can get some good, sweet money on the black market. Yo!
Totally leaving that in.